second episode of my new spin-off series with my friend Jeff Caxide, where we dissect and talk about the short stories of Stephen King. This episode, we talk about his 2015 anthology, Bazaar of Bad Dreams. Had a really killer time talking about this one, and hope everybody enjoys it. Also, after this episode comes out, probably 2 weeks from then, I'll be releasing my top 6 of 2025 with Mike Hill, so definitely want to pay attention to that one. I also hope everybody has a good 2026. And once again, thanks so much for following this podcast and supporting it. Definitely means a lot. And hope you dig this episode. After you're done with this episode, make sure you check out my fellow horsemen of the podcast apocalypse, Everything Went Black podcast, Into the Necrosphere, the Necromaniacs podcast, Spitball Media, Iblis Manifestations, and the Soul Knox podcast. All right, Jeff, it's 2026, which is crazy, and we're doing our second episode of our King side series, dissecting Stephen King.
So. Apologies for the delay. I know we were supposed to do this a long time ago, and we were like, when we finally got back on track, I think we talked about December for this, and here we are in the new year. That's all my fault. So sorry about that.
Oh, it's no worries. I'm just glad we're back to doing it again because I'm a huge fan of Stephen King, for better or worse, like there's later stuff, a bit more on the worst side, but still Stephen King is like number one for me. And I'm just happy to be back doing this side series and stuff and talking about, one of the masters of the horror genre, Stephen King. So
absolutely. I mean, I think we talked about it last time we talked about King, but I mean, that was one of the first authors I remember reading, as a kid, maybe not even a teenager yet. And you said for better or for worse. I definitely think somewhere in the mid 90s, things kind of took a turn. And I don't know if his writing changed or maybe it was just me that's changed. Mm-hmm. But this has been fun to go through this, as we're working our way backwards from his newest collection of short stories to his oldest. And I think that's good to get these out of the way first.
Yeah.
But this one we're doing, Bazaar of Bad Dreams. I had actually read this before, and reading these stories again was like reading almost all of them for the first time. I don't know if that was the same experience with you.
You know what? I didn't read this whole thing before, and so we started doing this episode stuff. But I did read like 2 of these stories from this anthology because they're kind of like novellas, I guess, in different like places that I've was reading Stephen King stuff before, and I didn't know they're all together in this anthology. So I did read a few of these stories beforehand, but overall, I didn't read this whole thing, until we started like wanting to do this episode. So.
Yeah, I mean, when I say I'd read this before, I want to say I read like 75% of it. I think there was a few that I was definitely reading for the first time, but I can't remember which ones. There were some I do remember clearly. There's actually 2 that I remember, but out of a story, out of a collection of 20, remembering 2 is not that impressive, I would say. Yeah. And I found out there is a bonus story on this I did not read. I got it was getting close to crunch time, so I got the audio book as well, so I could listen while I was driving to and from work and things like that.
Right.
And there's a story in there that's not in my paperback, which is weird because the story is from the paperback edition. Huh. And I don't know if it was a story you read. It was called The Cookie Jar.
Was that? I did the audiobook version of this one on Spotify, so hopefully it was on there. The Cookie Jar, I think it was. What's the brief synopsis of that one?
I don't know.
Okay,
because I did not read it.
Yeah, I got the synopsis down on here. The Cookie Jar, you said it might be maybe towards the end. Let's see, I'm not seeing. Yeah, that's kind of weird. It wasn't in the actual paperback. I'm wondering why he did that because I don't have it on my synopsis either. So I don't think I don't think I read that either.
Oh, okay, cool. I wasn't trying to skimp on my homework or anything.
Weird.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought looking up, I was like, wait a minute, I have the paperback and it's not in there. I don't know if it was a certain edition, like a later edition. It said the 2016 paperback, which, I mean, I guess I could look and see when my paperback was released. That would be something I should have done before. But yeah, I just thought that was weird. And I know like that happens a lot of times with collections that, a new edition will come out with a new unearthed story, or something like that.
Yeah,
Uh,
very very weird though. Yeah, he's good for stuff like that. I need to. Yeah, when you think you're like reading the complete works of Stephen King, there's always something new he adds in there later or down the line or something.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I think we talked about this before. His short stories is my favorite stuff that he's ever written.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just think horror works in the short story form more than it works, especially Stephen King. The longer he goes on, like the more his stories start to unravel and fall apart. And when you only got just a few pages, you really got to be concise. And then something bad happens, and then it's over, and
yeah.
you're sort of left to wonder. And that to me is the scary part, rather than explaining everything. And when he starts explaining things, it starts to just really become a mess sometimes.
Yeah, I definitely see that, and reading this stuff. But overall, like, still to this day, my favorite Stephen King work is It. Like, It is still my favorite Stephen King book, even out of all the like anthologies and all that stuff, like the actual novel. Like, yeah, that's just like,
Okay.
yeah, still
I If I had to go with a novel, it's either Pet Cemetery or The Shining, neither of which I've read. It's been close to 35 years, I think, since I last read either one, maybe longer. My favorite work, I would say, like Skeleton Crew is probably my favorite thing. Like again, his short story collections have always been my favorite.
right. If you wanted to go back to Pet Cemetery and do an audiobook version, there's a version where Dexter reads it from the show Dexter. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Right, Michael C. Hall.
Michael C.
Mike,
Hall,
yeah,
yeah.
he does a reading of it. And it's fucking amazing. I'm like, why can't Michael C. Hall just narrate every fucking audiobook? You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, like I read half of this and I audiobooked the other half. And I have to say some of the readings were quite good.
Hmm.
Even for stories I did not like, which we will get into. I enjoyed the narration of it. Some of these stories I found myself sleepwalking through, like forcing myself, okay, hey, pay attention. You got to talk about this. And no matter how hard, it was just like, oh, I just read that and retained not much of it at all. It was some of it just really just did not interest me at all. But reading King's like later work, you really start to see some themes develop throughout the last one we did. You Like It Darker and this, and it's definitely I feel someone grappling with aging and mortality, which seems to be a major theme, particularly in this book.
Yeah, definitely. I can definitely feel that. I mean, he's old. He's old as hell. And these newer like novels and anthology and stuff, he's really pressing that issue on. And I mean, that's a scary thing. That's the ultimate horror. It's like, aging out and death, so
Absolutely, he was roughly around 68, I think, when this book was published.
God,
And
yeah.
he's 78 now, so like
Yeah.
he wrote that last collection in his 70s, and maybe we'll get the next one if he makes it well into his 80s. I hope he does.
Oh, please do. Yeah, don't go out on me now. Give me another 5 years at least. No,
Yeah,
don't go yet, dude. Like,
please, Mr. King.
yeah, stay alive.
But you mentioned it. I gotta ask. I have not watched it yet, but how is this Welcome to Derry show? I've been hearing very mixed things.
Welcome to Derry was fucking awesome and one of my favorite shows of last year. Even though, like, there was like maybe one or two episodes where they kind of took a dive on the CGI and it was
Mm,
pretty bad, but that didn't ruin the show for me. Like overall, it was fucking good. And I'm not a fan of the remakes of the It movies, the two that came out how many years ago now. I wasn't a big fan of those at all. And
me
this is
neither.
from the same director and stuff, but he like I think it's a couple actually, a husband and wife team, I believe. But anyways, they absolutely killed it. It was my favorite show last year, I think, when it comes to TV shows.
Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah, I will see it eventually. It just hasn't been like high on my list of priorities. I was going to start that, but I got caught up in the chair company, and I ended up watching that instead.
Also a very good show. That ranks really high for my favorite TV shows of last year. Fucking love that.
Yeah, I didn't get into a lot of TV last year, so that ranks as my very favorite. Severance would have been on there, but I was kind of disappointed with season two.
I dug season two, but season two was the year before last, I believe, right? It wasn't last year, was it?
I seem to remember it watching I think it maybe started at the end of last year and finished Well, we are in the next year. I think I remember it finished in 2025. I believe I could be mistaken.
Yeah, man, if it was, that's crazy because I really dug the second season a lot too, but it feels like it was a 2024 thing. I have to go back and look that up. If it
You could,
was, it's
you,
like, man, it's like a total time warp there.
yeah. There were some very highs in season two, and also I think maybe it just again like wasn't going in the direction I hoped it would. And season one was so perfect, and when it was such a long delay in season two, I remember thinking like this would be a perfect just one season TV show, and
Hmm.
you're just left wondering. Because again, for me, the mystery is always more interesting than the explanation.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I love stuff that doesn't really explain itself. And, because sometimes you do get let down with the real explanation of things like, oh, that's what it really is. Like, it's kind of lame, but I do like the unknown.
Yeah, yeah, me too. It's almost like Lost. Like the first season was so great, and everything thing after that was just such a crushing disappointment. And then it
Yeah.
just kept going and going.
It's like, man, it's black smoke. And like, this is what this is. Like, like, come on, you can do
Yeah,
better than that. I was expecting like some kind of like crazy giant or like some robotic, like, I don't know, just something more than black smoke.
yeah. Yeah. The explanation was just so. It was clear to me that they were just throwing out cool shit. Oh, there's a polar bear. There's black smoke. There's a fucking guy in a cave who has to wake up every 45 minutes. And it was clear that to me that I don't think they really knew where they were going with any of it.
No, I think they kind of got lost in their own lost.
Yeah. So while we're talking about 2025, I don't know if you've released your top your top movies of 2025. Did you do that one yet?
No, I haven't done that episode yet. We're doing that on the 17th, me and Mike. We're gonna do my top six. I'm, have him on the show doing, he's already done his with Necromaniacs, of course, but still talk about my top six and some of his other favorites and stuff like that. But
Oh,
it's
nice.
coming. Yeah. Because I was off for for vacation for like a week right before the holidays or before New Year's, so I had time to catch up on all my 2025 watches that I wanted to see, and so I'm glad I had that time because there's a few things I wanted to catch, and I finally caught it. So very,
Oh, good,
yeah, yeah,
good.
yeah.
Looking at other lists, I realize there's quite a few things I missed from 2025. And Mike and I are doing a 2025 movie tomorrow. We're doing Sinners, a movie we probably should have covered like 6 months ago, but we're just
Oh,
getting around to it now.
that was a great movie. That's probably gonna be in my list. I don't know if it's gonna make my top six, but it would definitely be in my top 10. I've got to
Mm,
go and like look over everything. I haven't officially made my list yet. I still got to go back and it's a whole process. But Sinners is a
yeah,
really great movie. I enjoyed that one a lot.
yeah. It was my number three. There were some bright spots, and then otherwise kind of lackluster year as far as horror goes.
Yeah, nothing like I don't think I have any tens because in my rating system, is 1 through 10 and stuff, and nines are really, really, really good, but like a 10 is like a masterpiece. I don't think I've had anything that was a 10. I will say The Long Walk was really fucking good, and man, that was a yeah, that was it was heavy. You know what
Oh
I mean? That
yeah,
was a heavy movie, like because yeah, it hit me pretty hard the time I was watching and stuff. But I mean, that'd have hit anybody pretty hard. That's like I said, it's a heavy film, but that's gonna rank
absolutely.
pretty high in my list. I know that already, so.
Well, that was my number one, and that was, I think, my only 10 or 9.5, of 2025. But I would like, 2024 had like four that were
Hmm.
all like, this could be the number one, this could be the number one. But like this year, last year, 2025 was, one, maybe two that I was like really, really, really excited about, and the rest were, that were on my list were really good movies, but like. I don't think that it compared to the year before it.
No, I don't either. I think last year was a good bit weaker. Is this? I don't know. Nothing hit me. I thought my movie of the year for last year before I even saw it was gonna be like The Monkey or something because I love that director and stuff. Longlegs is one of my favorite films and stuff. But I was so disappointed in The Monkey. I know a lot of people dig it, but I'm just not a big. I don't know. It felt like something that should have came out in like 1999 or something. It had that feeling to it. Like it was
Completely agree.
it
Yeah,
was a new metal type horror movie, around that time frame. That's what it felt like to me. And I was like, I went to the theaters to see it. I was really hyped up. I was disappointed. It
yeah.
wasn't a terrible movie. I would give it like a 7.5 maybe, but
Yeah, like I think
Yeah.
I gave it a three on Necromaniacs, and again, I love Osgood Perkins. Him doing Stephen King was really exciting, especially that story. I'd read it when I was a kid.
Hmm.
I went back to reread it before seeing the film, and being like, the story isn't that great, but I think Osgood Perkins is going to add a lot to it. And I remember seeing the trailer, and it was like, this seems like a comedy. And then
Yeah.
seeing the film and like, oh, it is a comedy, and okay. And it was just such a weird mishmash of tones. I don't think he quite nailed the balance that it takes to pull off a dark comedy like that. It was, slapsticky to the like. I don't know. It's just not to my taste, I guess.
No, it was a bit too much James Wan involved in this. I think that's the problem. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
it was like
yeah.
a more like a high art version of like a Final Destination film or something.
Hmm.
It did
Exactly.
have some of that great Osgood Perkins atmosphere to it, and weirdness, but overall it was just kind of stupid. And some people really really loved it. I've seen the monkey rank high on some lists, and some of my friends were all about it. So, I mean, it comes down to taste, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. And like I say, it looked good, but everything else in between that movie, like the acting was actually decent. It's just the script, the writing, and all that stuff. I'm not a big fan of horror comedies, man. Like I don't really dig the whole Final Destination stuff either because it's been so overplayed. You've seen it all before. It's like, where's the monster at? Like, is there something like some dark entity behind all this, or I mean,
Yeah,
uh,
totally. And there's like eight Final Destination movies. I think there's a lot of them, and they're all pretty much the same thing. And the monkey could have been like an offshot of that. That's what it felt like to me.
yeah, yeah, definitely, and that's why, yeah, I didn't dig it. Highly disappointed in that one, but.
Although Osgood Perkins did redeem himself with Keeper, a film I really liked, but looking at the reviews and the audience reviews, no one else liked it. I think it
Oh, dude,
was,
I liked it. That might make my list once I go back and look at things because it took me some time to like sit and think about that one for a bit because after I got done watching it, it's a pretty heavy film too, and it's very slow and brooding. And I was like, wait a minute, I think I really dig this. Like at first, it has like almost like a Japanese or like Asian inspired horror feel to it. Like kind of like The Ring or something.
yeah,
Especially with like the crawly like creatures or whatever you call it, like the spirits or whatever, like with the long necks and all that stuff. And I'm not a real big fan of that type of horror, but overall, I thought it was really good and creepy. So it kind of grew on me a bit. So I might give that like a nine.
yeah, that was up there for me. Again, I think in another director's hands, I could have been kind of like a, whatever kind of movie, but Osgood Perkins really brought something to it. Again, like just his energy, his shot composition, everything about it makes something that is just sort of standard a lot more interesting to me.
Yeah, definitely. He's one of my favorites, especially of the newer generation of directors and stuff. I can't wait to see what else he does. Like I'm all
Y-
about his stuff.
Me too. And he cranks them out. I mean, two movies last year, and the Longlegs wasn't too long before that. I mean, that's three movies in 2 years from the guy. So that's some praise. Maybe like the American Takashi Miike or something.
Yeah, kind of, sort of. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you'll start making like five films a year.
I will say from last year, Weapons is going to rank really high on my list. I really enjoyed Weapons a lot.
I
I
liked
thought
it too. I liked it too. It made my honorable mentions. But I did like it quite a bit.
I love the weirdness of it. That's my type of horror, like weird, like this fucking bizarre, like nothing's really explained 100%. Same stuff like you like, dark and kind of brooding and everything. And that had everything in there for me. It almost felt like kind of almost creepy pasta ish, which I've been getting into those as I've gotten older. Like I know it was a thing back in like the early 2000s, but
Yeah.
some of that creepy pasta horror is really fucking good because it's so weird and like there's never any like explanations to things, with the endings and stuff. It's really dark and weird, and I kind of dig that.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Me too. Weapons also very Stephen Kingish, I thought.
Yeah.
I could picture myself reading that in like a Stephen King collection or maybe as a novel. Like, I quite enjoyed it, although it had a better ending than most Stephen King stories have, which Stephen King gets knocked for his endings quite a bit.
Yeah, I just got done recently, as of maybe back in November, with Stephen King's new Holly book. He has like I think this one might just be called Holly, but he has that offshoot the Mr. Mercedes series and stuff that he does. I don't know if you
Mm.
ever read any of those. It's more like detective stuff, you know?
No, I've been I have heard about it though. When I mentioned I don't like most of his newer stuff, that comes up a lot, along with Revival, which I do own, but I haven't read.
Revival's great. The detective stuff he does is hit and miss. This last novel he did was pretty boring, man. I gotta say, it took a lot for me to finish that fucking audiobook, and it was like a 20-hour audiobook too. It took me almost half a year to finish the damn thing.
Oh wow, wow.
Yeah, yeah.
I think the last King novel I read was maybe Doom McKee, and to be honest, I went to Wikipedia to see what happened at one point. It was just it started out great, and then it just again completely fell apart for me.
Huh, I haven't read
And
that one.
it's a later. You can tell it's a later period when he said when Florida is the setting.
Mm,
He writes about Florida a bit. There's a Florida pops up in this collection too,
yeah, yeah.
and in the one we just did, I believe the one
Florida.
yeah, Florida came
Yeah.
up quite a bit.
Yeah. Also, I guess before we get talking into the anthology, the last good Stephen King novel I read was Fairy Tale. Have you read that one?
I have not read that one.
Dude, Fairy Tale is great, and I hear nobody talking about that one. That one came out maybe 5 years ago now, maybe a little bit sooner than that. But yeah, if you like Lovecraft stuff, it gets into some Lovecrafty like crazy ass like fairy tale shit. Like it's really good, really dark. A lot of creatures and shit going on, like, stuff I really dig. So that's a good one I don't hear nobody talk about.
I haven't even heard of that one.
Right. I just kind of went through. I know, like Fairy Tale came out, and I saw a couple posts and he's on to something else and nobody talked about it. But
Now,
I was like, dude,
I'm writing that down.
yeah, really, really good.
You know what's a
Just
good thing about that is you can just walk into any Barnes and Noble and it'll probably be there, you know.
oh yeah, yeah. Hopefully
It,
still. Like I know the horror section's been getting a bit lean at our local Barnes and Noble. But yeah.
yeah, some Barnes and Noble don't even have a horror section. It's just mixed in with the fiction. Ours here in Connecticut, where I live now, does have a fairly decent horror section. I actually had a Legati book last time I went there, but it's one I already have,
Mhm.
which surprised the shit out of me. And I always go and look, and it's still there. It's been months.
That's cool. Yeah, ours has like we do have a horror section, but it's not the biggest. It's maybe two or three racks and that's it. But still there's some good stuff in there. And
Oh
then
yeah,
they mix stuff up too, like you said. There's stuff in like, thrillers and all that is actually horror, but they mix it all up. So
I used to just go to the horror section and buy whatever anthology they had, and I feel like those have all disappeared now.
yeah, it's crazy. Like I don't know what's up with the physical horror stuff like disappearing, but physical media in general is kind of disappearing. So
There's a great store in Burbank, right outside of LA, called Dark Delicacies. If you're ever in California, in that Southern California, LA area, you need to check out. I was definitely spoiled living there because whatever book you were thinking they probably had, and or if not, they could order it for you. It was a bookstore that just did horror, and they always had signings and always cool shit going on. And I love that place. If anyone listening lives in that area, you have to go check out Dark Delicacies.
I've ordered stuff online from them before. There was a I can't remember what novel. It was some side novel that I got. I think it might have been from shit. I can't remember who it was from. But anyways, yeah, Dark Delicacies is cool, but I believe they shut down their actual like store. I think you can still do stuff online possibly, but I know the store shut down like last year.
Oh man, that is fucking tragic.
Yeah.
That is really too bad, man. I loved that place.
Yeah, I
But
think
that's the way
the owner
things are
the owner's
going.
a writer too, so I think he
Hmm.
wanted more time just to get into writing and stuff. So I think that's one reason he shut down.
Yeah, and he was always there. I don't think there was ever a time I went there and he wasn't there.
He's got like a John Carpenter thing kind of going on with his look, which is cool. you know?
Yeah, yeah, like an older biker type dude.
Yeah, yeah. It was like
Really, really nice guy.
that's cool. Yeah, I follow him on social media, but I've never actually talked to him before. So it's good to know he's really nice.
He's a great guy. Yeah, I used to go in there quite a bit, and I always would talk with him a little bit. I would ask him about a book, and he would know something about it or the writer. Very very knowledgeable guy.
That's cool. Yeah, maybe one day I might get him on the show if he does podcasts, which I don't know. Some
Yeah,
people don't.
yeah,
That'd
that
be
would be
awesome.
great. It'd be really interesting to talk to that guy. I think you should do that.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully, maybe this year I reach out to him and see. So,
You should.
yeah,
All right.
yeah,
I guess we should talk about this fucking book here.
yeah. Let's get to the fucking book.
Yeah. You want overall thoughts? I mean, we were talking a little bit beforehand. I don't think either of us were very crazy about this one.
No, it's like you said before, it's pretty forgettable. There's a few stories here that I'm gonna pick out, I guess, because yeah, everything else is kind of went in one ear out the other because I did audiobook version of this. There's a few that stuck here, but again, with his newer anthologies, they don't really do much for me. Like it was kind of hard to get through some of these, you
It
know.
was very hard to get through some of these, and they there was some of the longer ones were the ones I had the most trouble getting through. Some of them were good, but I was nearing the end of it, and when I went to like write my I wrote them in order of how much like from my least favorite to my favorite, and a lot of these, I mean, like even going up to the top 10, like a lot of them are interchangeable. I think there was really only a handful that I actually would was really excited about. I would say like the top four, for instance, I thought were all really good, but the rest, somewhere from like five to like 14 or whatever, like could probably be like switched in any order.
Yeah, I'm on the same boat with you there. I think maybe I have like four that are really noteworthy, and everything else is kind of like, yeah, I can
Yeah.
do with that one. That's pretty bad. Like most Stephen King, like the older stuff, like there's a ton that I love, but like I said, these newer anthologies aren't quite hitting very well with me. So
Right. And I mean, again, I don't know if I've changed as a person or if and I just don't gravitate to the way King writes anymore, or maybe King has changed, or maybe it's both. But, I could appreciate the themes, overall themes of these stories. A lot of it has to do with your own mortality, aging, dying. I mean, I think each of these stories revolves around a death. And I know it's horror, but, death is on Stephen King's mind when he was writing these stories. There's no question about it.
yo, yeah, definitely, definitely.
I mean, it's a lot of people like retirement homes or sick people who are on the verge of death, clearly thinking about his own existence.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And like I said, I think before we started doing this, or I might have said this at the beginning of the podcast, but that stuff is truly horrifying. The thought of growing older and all that. That's always on my mind. I turned 40 this year, but in my head, I feel like I'm still 15. And like, how the hell did I go from 15 to 40 so fast in like a blink of an eye? It's insane.
It
Like,
is. It
like,
is. I'm going to be 50 this year,
wow.
and yeah, I like. How am I 50 and I don't have my life together? How am I, 50 and I still wear band t-shirts every day, and yeah, it just creeps up on you, and 40 was a big one for me. Waking up and thinking, Jesus Christ, I made it to 40, and am I supposed to be like an adult now? Am I supposed to have everything figured out? I don't.
Same
And
here, dude.
50 is going to hit me even harder, and it's coming up in September. Uh, so yeah, it's on my mind too. You'll hear it all the time. Someone dies at 50, and people go, "Yeah, he was 50." you know.
Yeah.
So that's that's certainly on my mind. Like I've known 50-year-olds who have had heart attacks, things like that. It's kind of a hard thing to escape. Um, and clearly, Mr. King, even though he's going to be immortal on the page and will always be remembered, the man himself is going to die someday, and that overall seems to be what was on his mind when writing most of these stories, I'd say.
Definitely.
Did you read the little introductions to the stories?
I think they did the little intros on the like audio version. So yeah, I heard them, but I don't really remember half of them. But yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. They're
the
kind of sad though.
yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't hear all of them, but they were at the end of the story when you listen to it on the audiobook that I had. Like
Okay.
they weren't at the beginning of the story, they were at the end of the previous story, which I thought was strange. Whatever. Um, but I guess I don't know. Like I said, I have mine ranked from my least favorite to my favorite, and I'm curious. I guess I could put them all in one. Mine 20 and 19 were the two poems in this collection.
Yeah, yeah. There, I could. Yeah, not a big fan.
I wrote down Poe, he is not.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, are you a fan of poetry or?
not really. I do like Edgar Allan Poe.
Mhm.
But besides that, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not really into poetry, man.
Yeah, I can't say I know that much about it or have read enough to say if I'm a fan or not, but I was not a fan of these. I am a Poe fan. I do like his poetry. I'm not sure what exactly Stephen King was reaching for in either of these. I put down The Bone Church as my least favorite and Tommy at as my second, like at 19, because I just think for whatever reason I like that one just a little bit more.
Yeah, I would put Tommy as my probably least favorite when it comes to all these. I didn't care for Tommy too much, but
Okay, all right, so we're on the same page there.
yeah, yeah. I like the Bone Church a little bit more just because of the title itself, and it sounds like it's gonna be something really heavy and stuff, but it really ain't, you know. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's lacking.
it is.
Yeah.
The in the reading of it, the audiobook, the person was very spirited and he gave a good reading, and Mr. King himself read Tommy. It's always good to hear the writer read the story because that's probably the closest to what he had like in his head, you know what I mean? Like the way the characters should be talking and everything like so maybe that's what gave Tommy its slight edge. Two of these, both of these I had read on the page and ended up listening to again
Hmm.
just to see if I would get any more out of it maybe and I really didn't. Uh couldn't really tell you much. I know Tommy focuses on a funeral. I don't know. Maybe this would have worked better as a like I don't know, maybe like a 5-page short story or something. But I mean, King himself notes that he's no poet, and he didn't write these to be dissected. He wrote them to be enjoyed. And I guess I didn't neither.
Yeah,
um,
the poetry stuff he does is always like the weakest. Like I could do without the poetry, you know.
yeah, I
It
mean,
doesn't need
again,
to.
like I'm sure he's written one or two that are must be better than this. But he liked them enough to include them. So, um, yeah, I agree, man. I could have really done without this.
Yeah, definitely. So, I guess if you want to start off with your least favorite, then I hit my least favorite right behind you with which were probably gonna be the same thing anyways. I believe it's gonna be Tommy, correct?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
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 My 20 and 19 were the Bone Church and Tommy.
Yeah.
Interchangeable in my mind. Like one could either one could be my least favorite. Actually, I think any same with the next one or two, three, four stories could also be like my least favorite stories.
I can do like a brief synopsis on those two if you like. I have that written down. So
Sure.
yeah, with Tommy, it's pretty heavy subject matter. It's a poem recounting childhood sexual abuse and a lasting psychological damage that incurred, and the horror is grounded in reality, focusing on memory, trauma, and silence. It's pretty heavy stuff, but yeah, it didn't do much for me.
Didn't quite translate in poem form, I think.
No, I mean it may have been better as a short story, but I'm not sure why you went with a poem with this. But yeah, that kind of stuff is always pretty heavy, like the sexual abuse stuff, childhood stuff, like all that's kind of like yeah. I'd rather not read
Absolutely.
about that. Yeah, give me some more like fantasy stuff.
Yeah. Although King's fantasy stuff I'm also not a fan of, but
Right.
uh yeah, I get I mean again it was written a little bit more like, the line let's drink to the motherfucker. I was like, "Oh, I like that."
Mhm. Yeah, and that felt like King too. That how he likes to throw out the random like fucks and all that stuff or whatever. Like that's his voice there, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Where like, it definitely had his voice to it. Whereas the Bone Church, Okay. I'm not sure what I was supposed to get out of that.
Yeah, like I said, it has a cool name and everything, like the Bone Church, and like I'm expecting something like heavy, dark, and stuff, and really didn't get that from that. It was just I don't know, it didn't really stick at all. And the synopsis for that one is some explorers journey into a dark wilderness and discover a cathedral-like structure built entirely of human bones. I mean, that sounds awesome so far, right? And they explore as they explore, more members start to vanish and are absorbed into the church, and then the poem just kind of ends, and
Right.
yeah, it's like it could have been cool. I think that would have made a good short story. I don't know why that was a poem. Like if you went with just that brief synopsis there and added on to that, like made it into a real story, it might be pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I completely agree. Also kept picturing the Bone Temple from 28 years later.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Which I absolutely hated. So
Oh, see,
it,
I'm on the opposite side of that one. I really loved that movie, and I went in thinking it was going to probably suck because
uh,
it. But oh, I love Bone Church. I was like, not Bone Church. That's gonna be the next one. I loved the new 28 Days Later. That was great.
yeah,
But
you and Mike loved that one. I'm not a fan whatsoever. I absolutely hated it. My worst movie of 2025.
oh man, yeah, I got to look and see what my worst one is. I do have some really bad ones that I fucking rated really harshly. I just can't remember which one it is off the top of my head right now.
I'm sure there's something worse, but man, I walked out of that theater very, very disappointed.
Oh man, I get it though. I get it. It's a weird movie, and you got to be in the right mind frame, or
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know, weird frequency or something.
Yeah, maybe in 10 years something will click. I'll see it on, TV or something, be like, oh no, yeah, maybe that was better than I remembered. But as of right now, I did not like that.
Yeah,
Um, should I keep going?
yeah,
With my
yeah.
Now we're getting into the actual short stories, and my number 18. Again, this could have been at the bottom, but I just didn't like the poems. But my number 18 was Blockade Billy.
Man, that's crazy because I was about to say the same thing. That's one of
Ah.
my that's my lowest of the short stories, Blockaded Billy. I
All
thought it
right, good,
sucked. Yeah.
good. We're on the same page. Are you a baseball fan?
I am not. I'm not a sports fan at all. And I was when I was a teenager. I was in like football and basketball and stuff. But like after 15 or 16, I fell off all that shit and I haven't watched it since. So no, I don't care. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I mean, I was more into sports as a youngster until I discovered like punk rock and music and all that stuff. Especially being growing up in Connecticut, you were either a Yankees fan or a Red Sox fan. It was a very spirited rivalry, but I never really gave much of a shit about baseball. Still don't.
Mm.
I like football, although this year I have not watched much football at all. My team is the Raiders, and the Raiders are dog shit. They're dog shit every year. They're terrible, terrible team. But
Uh,
just haven't had the mental capacity to deal with sports this year. And this was very, I mean, for lack of a better term, inside baseball. King really knows the ins and outs of the sport. He clearly loves it. I felt like this story prattled on and on and on. And I kept waiting for something to happen. And when it finally did, story was just about over.
mhm.
Um, but this one kept losing me. I felt like kept slipping in and out of paying attention, like rereading it and like just not getting anything out of this at all. This is clearly written from the perspective of someone who absolutely loves the game of baseball. And I don't know, like I feel like there's a lot of different alleys the story could have gone down to make it more interesting or darker or any path he chose to take with the story. I think you can make something out of it, but he didn't.
Mm.
There's just a lot. I mean, he wrote himself into the story, which I thought was kind of neat. Mr. King is the reporter, which
Yeah.
I guess Stephen King, his first writing job was covering baseball or sports.
Mhm.
I thought that was pretty cool. I thought that would lead to something sort of interesting, but I mean, it was a complete dud for me. I did not like this at all.
Yeah, like I said with me, I don't care about sports and like the whole baseball thing. If especially baseball, I never liked baseball, even when I did watch stuff back when I was a teenager. But yeah, the subject matter didn't hold me, and I don't know. I thought the story was pretty boring, and kind of went out one ear, out the other ear, you know,
Yeah,
memory wise. It's like, yeah, it sucks.
it was a lot like an actual game of baseball for me, as in boring and kind of painful to get through.
Yeah, definitely.
My friends, I have a couple friends who are really, really into it, man. They'll talk your ear off about statistics and everything. And it's just a glaze goes over my eyes when people start talking about baseball.
Yeah, that's a no go for me. I'm like, you might as well be speaking a different language. Like, I don't know, and I don't care.
Yeah, complete.
Yeah,
Although you can make something interesting out of something I don't necessarily like.
yeah.
There was a show a couple years ago called The League. It was a comedy show about a bunch of guys in a fantasy football league.
Mm.
And I don't give a flying fuck about fantasy football at all. But I love the show. I thought it was funny. I thought it was rooted in these guys in a fantasy football league, but it went off in like all these crazy different directions. So
Mm.
there are, I think any subject can be fascinating if it's something, even if it's something I'm not into. Just this story, I was kind of hoping for that, and it just wasn't that.
Yeah, totally agree. Like, no good.
Total dud for me.
Yeah.
Um, I'm curious what you think of my next one. I did wrestle with putting this one above or below Blockade Billy, but overall, I went just a little bit higher with the next one, which was Drunken Fireworks.
And you're nailing all my worst ones, man. I was like, I was reading the synopsis of it now. I'm like, that's my next worst one. That was horrible and also boring. And I like when things deal with more of a supernatural or something a bit darker. I mean, feuding neighbors, and this is stuff that really happens and stuff. I don't care about that kind of stuff. That you can watch it on the news every day. That's what this felt like some shit going on like down the street from you or something.
Yeah, which I think could have been sort of an interesting story about like these like yokels versus a sort of more well-to-do family having a back and forth about fireworks. I mean, it was like that's kind of like could be some very funny shit. And I think this is Stephen King's attempt at writing maybe a comedy. Um,
Yeah,
and honestly, the only reason I rated this higher is because the reading of this was very like the person reading it, I can't remember who was really giving it their all, like the accent. It was clearly like read in a humorous tone. Um, but again, it's a lot of yammering, and then nothing seems like it's going to happen. And then, a house burns down the end.
yeah. It's just it all leads to nothing. You think there's gonna be maybe something a bit weirder or something at the end, but no, it's very it's something you see on the news.
Yeah, both like this story and the last one seemed to lack any sort of interesting introspect, anything. It just seemed like something King just fucking blurted out. And I got I got pretty much nothing out of this. Again, I thought the person reading it did a fantastic job, but other than that,
Yeah,
uh, utterly forgettable.
totally agreed. So bad. Yeah,
All right, good. So we're on the same page.
we are. We are.
Well, I'm curious what you think of my number 16 pick, because I feel like this one, in doing what little research I did, this one seems to be one that people really liked in this collection. My number 17 was, I don't know if you're supposed to pronounce it or you are.
Oh, you are. Let's see, which one was that one again? I'm looking on my summaries here. Oh, you know what? This was a mixed one for me because this was one of the stories I read that wasn't actually in this anthology at first. This was on something else I was reading. Another one of King's books. He put this like story at the end of it. And
Oh,
yeah, I like it though, but it also feels like an ad for a Kindle, you
well,
know?
it was from my understanding, he was commissioned to write this about like a sort of like an ad for the Kindle, and that's exactly what it feels like.
Yeah.
It's a very sort of King thing to like, okay, the Kindle, well, it's haunted. um, and I guess this has connections to the Dark Tower, which I
Yep.
know nothing about.
Oh, dude, I love it. Dude, Dark Tower is amazing, but it's one hell of a journey because each book is like fucking. If you're going audiobook wise, you're talking about 30 hours or some shit each book. It just depends. And it took me almost a year and a half to get through everything. But dude, it's one
Wow.
of the best fucking journeys. Best thing, one of the best things Stephen King's ever done. Anybody's ever done is, yeah, it's so epic, man. So good.
Um, yeah, how is that not a TV show? It just boggles my mind.
And they've been
Um,
trying to do one for a while now, finding the right director and stuff. It was going to be on Amazon, then I think HBO wanted to pick it up, but I've heard nothing else from that. Like it should be a TV show. It make it if it's done right, dude. It'd be so good.
I believe Ron Howard was attached at one point, which I thought was a very
Yeah,
interesting pick.
no Ron Howard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no thanks.
no,
Someone like I don't know, like we were Osgood Perkins or
yeah,
but I don't know the Dark Tower. I do, however, know that the low men in yellow coats were in Hearts in Atlantis, a book I have read, and I did not know that that connected to the Dark
yep.
Tower.
His whole universe is connected. Almost every single book is connected some way to the Dark Tower, and that whole his whole universe is just connected. Everything like the stand, all that stuff's all connected with the Dark Tower. Like it's all one giant universe. There's some really good YouTube videos and some diagrams you can find online of how everything connects. Like it connects everything. It's all connected somewhere down the line. It's crazy.
Does King stick the landing with the Dark Tower, or is it
I
like
think no, it's a hell of an ending. I think so. It's it's
okay?
it's a depressing ending, of course, with Stephen King. A lot of his stuff is very depressing. It's like, man, after all that journey, this is the ending. It works. I enjoyed it. Like from beginning to end, it's a solid fucking journey.
This story was, I mean, I didn't. This was one that I didn't dislike as much as it was just a very, very mixed bag that leaned more towards the negative for me. Like you said, it felt like an ad. Like the whole idea of you know, a Kindle that's like a look into other universes was kind of interesting
Mhm.
to me. I like thinking about, oh, if Hemingway, didn't die when he did, or Poe, two or there, I think there was two novels that he read that Poe wrote, and Poe didn't write novels, he wrote stories.
Right.
That stuff is really interesting and fantastical, and then it can predict the future. Then it ties into these low men in yellow coats. Um, I don't know, it just didn't all quite land with me completely. What not terrible, but for the length of it, I was hoping to enjoy just a little bit more. But it was a bit of a slog to get through
Hmm.
for me, just not as much as the previous two. And it had some ideas in it that I thought were interesting. But yeah, the fact that this was an ad for the Kindle just sort of, turned me off. It was felt a little icky.
Yeah, yeah, it's a bit weird for sure. Like, and like, this is a fucking ad, but I love the tie-in with the Dark Tower and all the stuff and the Lowman and all, and he's seeing that other world and stuff. But just the whole time I'm listening to this, or I actually read this one too. It's like it's the whole thing. It's just an ad for the most part. Like, go buy a Kindle. Like, I got a Kindle now. It's cool. I love it. Right, but
Go get
I
a
get
pink one.
it. I get it, Stephen King. I don't have a cool one that can like read shit from the future and everything, but I get it.
It kind of reminded me of that Family Guy joke where, the cutaway joke in Family Guy, where it's Stephen King sitting in his office and goes, "Oh, my next story is about a haunted lamp." He sees the lamp and starts shaking it.
Oh yeah.
It reminded me of that. Like,
Yeah.
he's then just sitting around like, okay, what can be haunted? Kindle. Yeah, just not the worst, but sort of at the bottom for me. Nothing I would recommend. My number 15, one I had mixed feelings of. Again, it was well written and all, but my number 15 was Mr. Yummy.
Yeah. I think this was a poem too, I believe, right? Yeah.
No, this was a short story,
Oh, it was. Okay. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I did go back and read his little introduction to this one because it's about some. Again, this one takes place in the retirement home. A theme that comes up quite a bit in this collection. and one of them is an older gay man, and they talk a lot about the AIDS epidemic. And that's kind of interesting coming from, Stephen King, who was a straight guy, married,
Right.
all that. And, he said in his introduction that that he doesn't subscribe to the idea that you have to be something to write about it, which I agree with
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
completely. And the things I was thinking were things Stephen King addressed when he said, I talked to a friend of mine who is gay, and he's like, I don't know, Stephen King, if you have anything to add to this when talking about AIDS and the AIDS crisis. And I don't think he necessarily did, but I don't think the story veers into exploitation or bad taste or pandering or any of that stuff. It just, it features a gay character talking about the AIDS epidemic.
Yeah.
Um, I did like aspects of the story, the both the leads sort of seeing like the harbinger of their deaths. There was some good stuff in it, but ultimately, again, kind of like a mixed bag, a little bit forgettable. Um, I didn't think the whole subject of the AIDS epidemic really played into the story that much.
Hmm.
I don't know if I wanted it to, but overall, I just felt like didn't really add or definitely didn't take anything away. But I don't know. This felt like needed to be fleshed out more. I feel like Stephen King was reaching for something with this and just didn't quite get it. I think, maybe years later he'll take another look at it, rewrite it, and it'll become something bigger. He is known to change some of his stories, add things to them.
Hmm.
But yeah, a mixed bag. But again, not bad. I don't know what you thought.
Yeah, like I said, not bad. I found it really sad. It's kind of like, another heavy, more, reality based story, and, the AIDS epidemic and all that stuff. And it was all right. It's not on my favorite of this short story list here. So, but it wasn't bad either. It was okay.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. I was almost waiting for some. There's some very heavy stories. They're closer to the top for me, and I thought this one was going to go there, but it did not. Just kind of felt like, okay, I read that next.
Yeah. So yeah, when we
Wait,
get towards the top or whatever, whenever you mention this one, probably it's going to be my top one's going to be something that's super out there and weird. So you
oh,
probably already know what
interesting.
that's going to be when you get to it. But
I
yeah.
think I do. Well, okay. I wrestled with switching these two. My number 14, uh, Herman Woke is still alive.
Hmm. That one.
Um,
Yeah.
this apparently the this is broken up into two perspectives, and I'm not really sure why. You see the perspective of these girls. One of them won some like meager amount of money and a scratch ticket, and then it switches to these older writers, poets, a man and a woman. I guess they are a couple or were at some point. I could
Yeah.
have really done without all of that stuff from their perspective, from the older couples, because it didn't really add much to the story at all.
No, not
Um,
really. And like I don't. Yeah, this was another one that is kind of like I don't know. This would probably rank pretty low on my list because yeah, it didn't really do nothing for me. I mean, the crash and all that stuff, and I don't know. And I think it's like a reflection on like social media, like popularity and stuff like that. I believe, but
I kind of felt like King. I mean, King is not like a big subtext writer. Like, look deeper and you'll discover what he's talking about. I think he's very much a surface sort of writer. And the part of me wanted to see this as a comment about class, like these privileged, well-to-do writers and all their literary bullshit. Now, like everything goes out the window and there's a bunch of dead bodies in front of them.
hmm.
That to me could have been maybe an interest. Maybe that's what he was going for, but it just wasn't quite there. I was thinking when I read this, I was like, these he's writing these sort of like less privileged characters is like maybe a little bit broad and stereotypical, and but again, King just can't help with his king-like flourishes with his dialogue. Like at one point, one of the girls goes, "I was born at night, but I wasn't born last night."
Yeah.
People don't talk like that.
It sounds like some southern stuff though, being I am from the south. It sounds like something somebody from Florida would say, actually, maybe. I don't know.
Right, yeah, someone
Yeah.
who was like in their like, 70s maybe, but these are supposed
Yeah.
to be younger girls. The whole time I
Yeah.
kept thinking, I was like, I don't think people like this would have the sort of self-reflection to do what they did in this story.
Hmm.
But I was proven wrong when someone pointed out to me that this actually happened. Um, so what the fuck do I know? Pretty horrific thing to do, to just kill your whole family, basically.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, so brutal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is, and I think this could have been a really good story if you fleshed out that side of the story.
Hmm.
Um, and when you listen to it on the audiobook, it's read by two different people reading the perspective of the writers and people who were from the girl's perspective. But the fact that this actually happened feels a little gross. And maybe, I'm not saying that's off limits to write about, but maybe some sort of introspection into that would have been made this feel a little bit less icky. I don't know. Otherwise, I just felt like, okay, again, like that, I read that next. Like I don't feel too strongly about it one way or another.
No, it's same for me. It's like in and out, in and out. Like, okay, whatever. What's the next story? It's like so
Yeah,
this one's not for me. Let's see if the next one's gonna be for me. But this one's, yeah, it didn't do anything for me at all.
yeah. Which, yeah, it's unfortunate. Like there were so many of those stories like that in this.
Yeah, there really was. Like I said, I probably have like four that I really liked. Everything else I could really care less about. They were that
Yeah.
bad for me. They just didn't do anything.
Well, we're getting to one. I have a feeling you're gonna like this one. My number 13. I feel like this is like when I was like, oh, I bet you Brandon's gonna like this. My number 13 was Bad Little Kid.
Yes, I did dig Bad Little Kid, man.
Okay.
It was creepy and had the like it had a Stephen King feel about it. You got this like fucking creepy ass kid that never ages and stuff, and he's always there causing mischief and shit, and like there's something truly evil about him. I really dug that.
I did. I liked it. This is the first one I was mixed on, but more mixed positive. This was like classic King. Like I could picture this kid in like this fat ginger kid with a propeller hat and like this red and white striped shirt and shorts that were too ill-fitting for him. Like that's what I was picturing. Like I could
Yeah,
see it.
with a ton of
Th-
freckles and stuff, and like buck teeth. Like yeah.
yeah, this is what King does so well. And like the way the kid was like kind of like swearing, but in a way like a kid does, where he doesn't quite understand what the fuck he's talking about.
Hmm.
That's where King's dialogue is a little bit more uh, fitting, I thought, with this like just bile coming out of this kid's mouth.
Yeah.
And the added touch of like anytime he sees this kid, someone close to him dies, which is, that's sort of like right out of like so much folklore. Like we have a story in Connecticut, I think the Black Dog of Hanging Rock. Anyone who sees it, it's like, they die.
Oh, I've heard about that. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I've heard that one. And the
Yeah.
moth, or like the Mothman or something.
Right. Yeah. And I love that kind of stuff. I really
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
So this had a bit of that, but again, I felt like the whole framing of like, is a guy on death row. He's telling this story to his lawyer, and the way he's setting up this story, he is just prattling on and on and on about details that, again, there are like writerly flourishes that just don't need to be there.
Right.
Like, well, this was in this time. Of course, Alabama was down here, and she was like, I was like, dude, just get to the point.
Yeah.
Like, you're a guy on death row. You're gonna not have much time on your hands. You're gonna want to get this out. And I found the ending very predictable. Um,
Definitely.
and this is, this is one of two stories about capital punishment to some degree in this
Hmm.
book, and this was the lesser of the two for me. But not bad, just not great. Again, I liked it felt good to get to the story. Like, all right, King is doing his thing,
Hmm.
and it's good. to see him in his comfort zone. But maybe he was just too much in his comfort zone because it felt a little bit on autopilot. You knew everything that was going to happen before it happened.
Yeah, I definitely didn't nail the ending. Like I said, I like the whole like creepy kid stuff. Is he a demon? Is he death? What is he? And it just didn't really stick the ending very well. But the concept of like the bad little kid, like I thought that was creepy as hell. That was cool. But
I agree. The kid saying "suck my dink" too. I underlined that. Like, oh, that's again like something a fucking kid would say.
a kid from like the 1920s or something, you know what I mean? Like old,
Yeah,
that is telling you this kid is not really a kid. It's been around for a long time. And, who would say that, like, unless you're, oh, suck my dink. What time are you from, dude? Like, come on.
exactly. And
Yeah.
the fact that he could kill this kid and be arrested for it. And again, I was like, oh, this is hinting at something more interesting. Like they mentioned, like the kids can never be identified. No one has claimed this body. I'm like, okay, this is interesting.
Hmm.
Where are they going to go with this? Nowhere. Like guy gets executed, and the demon kid now is coming for the lawyer or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, not bad at all. I feel in a better collection of stories, this would be a bit more towards the bottom.
Hmm.
But the fact that it's in this one, it makes it shine a little bit.
Yeah. It definitely
Um,
shines in this collection for sure. Yeah.
it was
Mm-hmm.
not a slog to get through though, and even though I knew where it was going, I mostly enjoyed the ride getting there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my next, my number 12, I think I ranked this one higher than I meant to.
Mm-hmm.
um, I'm very curious what you think of my number 12. It's Premium Harmony.
Premium Harmony. I gotta look up the synopsis on this one, see if I remember which one that is, because the name doesn't ring a bell with me. Oh
It
yeah, this one was really depressing when he's got his wife in there who's like dying or whatever, and he's like, well, fuck it, she was really shitty to me and stuff, and all these different memories start popping back. This one was a pretty heavy, fucked up one.
it wasn't written in King's usual voice though, like of this character who was reflecting on this. This character just seemed to be like sort of sleepwalking through this whole situation. This one almost had like a comedic bend to it.
Dark comedy kind of thing going on with this.
Yeah, I mean, I think if Stephen King played this one a little bit straighter, it would hit harder because I feel like King does that kind of stuff very well.
Hmm.
Sentimental, pulling at your heartstrings, making, like depressing things. He does that really well. And this is presented like, yeah, like more of like a very dark comedy. And he gets a free pack of smokes and finds out his dog is dead at the end of all this.
Yeah, I thought the dog dying was sad. Like I'm partial to animal deaths and stuff over humans, but yeah,
Especially the way it died in this story.
yeah,
Like just cooked in his car while
fucking
he was like
horrible.
dealing with his, dead wife. But again, King is showing us a glimpse into his mind that you could be doing something as simple as going into the store, and that's the last time you're ever going to see someone.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's true horror right there, man. Like, God, yeah,
absolutely. And
yeah,
um, maybe he's masking his true feelings by, wrapping this up in this sort of comedic slant. I don't know. It kind of see what he was going for, but again, it feels like more of a throwaway than anything. Like it didn't feel that meaningful. It just felt like he again just sort of blurted this one out. But I did enjoy reading it to some degree.
yeah. Wasn't bad. Wasn't one of my favorites, but definitely wasn't bad. Like I said, the
Y-
subject matter was dark but comedic, and the dog stuff was really heavy. But it seems like his wife was pretty horrible, but he's kind of horrible too. Like, yeah, they're
Right,
all kind of
exactly.
horrible. Yeah,
I feel like I know people like this,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
like King does like the whole New England towny thing. He understands it and presents it very well. like like reading, I'm like, I know people like this. They're just shitty, awful fucking people. um, Also, okay, so my number 11, again, kind of could have swapped it with the last one we talked about. Was Batman and Robin have an altercation?
Yeah, this one doesn't. This is not my top four. So yeah, this was all right, but
Yeah. Some touching stuff with a guy who's probably roughly around my age, maybe a little bit older, and his elderly father who is, senile and confused. They go to Applebee's every week for dinner, which or lunch, which is I don't know why anyone would ever go to an Applebee's for
oh,
anything.
right. I last made at Applebee's. I was a teenager, I think, and the food was horrible back then. Like I couldn't imagine going there for like you actually want to go there. Like why?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think the last time I ever went to an Applebee's was on tour.
Mm.
Um, when you don't want fast food and you're like, oh, there's an Applebee's.
Yeah, slightly better than fast food.
You
You
would
know?
you would think,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
after you have it, you like, I wish I had the fucking Big Mac instead.
Yeah.
Applebee's is disgusting.
Yes.
Um, but hey, an 80-year-old guy, probably wouldn't would probably want to eat an Applebee's. Okay, I'm not going to knock the story for, having it at Applebee's.
Yeah.
Mm. But man, I believe this is a Florida story.
I think so. Yeah.
I could picture this vividly in my head from my time living in Texas.
Oh, yeah.
This shit kicker who they run afoul of. I have run into that guy a million times living in Texas. Big, obnoxious, alpha male, dick swinging, the world is mine kind of dude.
Oh, yeah. We got
Um,
those in South Carolina too. Because
oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We got him everywhere.
Yeah. You do. Yeah. Motherfuckers, man. Yeah.
Yeah. But I could picture this guy. I can picture the road. Everything's just so clearly. And again, this is a nice little story about this senile guy who doesn't know what's going on. He just knows that his son is in trouble and basically comes to his aid by stabbing him with an Applebee's knife.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Which is pretty cool. Like,
yeah, I'll give
dad's
him
still
that.
helping son up, even though dad's not really there anymore in his head. He's gone. But yeah, he still had enough, like,
Right.
and yeah, he still got the job done and saved his son, which is cool.
Yeah. It was kind of like sweet in a way. And then he shits himself because it wouldn't be a Stephen King story without someone shitting themselves or taking a shit or farting. Like King has this preoccupation with shitting in his stories. Like,
Yeah, that's true. He does, don't he? Yeah.
yeah, there's a whole scene in the film he directed, Maximum Overdrive, where one character's talking to another who's on the toilet and he's farting through the whole scene. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
that's Stephen King for you right there.
Yeah, yeah. I totally get that.
um, this is okay story. I think it was like the third one or
Hmm.
fourth one in this collection. Again, yeah, fine. I don't really feel too strongly one way or another about it. Kind of sweet, also kind of, I don't know, pointless. But again, you see the theme of aging, losing your thoughts, mortality, things like that. It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Like, yeah, it is to me. Like, again, it doesn't have that weird like supernatural element to it, or I mean, the guy does come out of like dementia for a second and regain himself, but it's not really anything supernatural. It just, I don't know. It's all right story if it wasn't for Stephen King. I guess I'm expecting something weirder. You know what I mean? I didn't get that, so I was kind of like disappointed.
I was kind of hoping when I saw the title that, oh man, Stephen King doing a Batman and Robin story. This could be interesting.
That would be interesting. Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
I
But
am a big Batman fan. I would like to see that.
yeah, same here. Love Batman, so that would be cool. Very interesting. That would be.
Yeah, I think Batman works well with horror
Oh yeah.
themes. There's a Gotham by Gaslight comic
Hmm.
book, and I believe there's a Lovecraft inspired one as well.
There's an episode from the animated series that came out in the '90s, which is the best in my opinion. That whole series.
Yeah, that was great.
He fights a werewolf in that one. That was cool as shit.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I don't know
I
if you
think I
remember
know.
that one.
Yeah, I loved that show. I was a teenager, so I felt like I was too old to be watching it, but I still did.
Oh, that's a pretty
Um,
adult cartoon if you think about it. I know it came on it was either Saturday morning or it was like an afternoon when I get home from school. I think it was an afternoon that would come on, but it had like, it didn't feel like anything else that was on at the time. Like it was very adult like, and even the animation was more like sophisticated than a lot of shit that was on there.
Totally. It came before the Cartoon Network even and Adult Swim, but
Hmm.
even some shows on the Cartoon Network that were for kids were very adult oriented, like Samurai Jack.
Yeah, I never got into that. I've tried, and I see where how you can really, really dig that, but I never really did it for me. But I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I know it's good. It's just not really for me.
I was a big fan. Saw it in my more stonery days and
Uh,
I was just high constantly and
I could see that working with that. Yeah, all those
oh
like
yeah,
colors and shit. Yeah,
very, very cool.
yeah.
So now we're in my top 10, and some of these are in my top 10 by default. Actually, my number 10 is in there by default because I didn't love this story, but it was at least Stephen King doing horror, and I could appreciate a lot of it.
Mhm.
My number 10 was Mile 81.
Okay, this is gonna be my number one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I told you something like crazy, and like, yeah, yeah, I really, really love this one. But yeah, it felt like, traditional Stephen King to me. You know?
Yeah, and it did, and this is the first story in the collection, and a great way to start off a Stephen King collection in some ways.
Yeah,
Um, in some ways, to me, it felt like a spiritual sequel to The Raft, which is probably my one in my top five of Stephen King stories.
oh yeah, I could definitely see that. Maybe the car was a, like same species of whatever the raft was. Like, yeah, very similar because they both absorb people and fucking turn them into shit and stuff, and
Yeah, and it's
like
just there's
brutally.
no explanation for what they are, for what it
No,
is. It's just there, and
yeah,
now it's something that people have to deal with. Uh, Even the framing of this, I thought was starting off interesting with this little kid. He wants to impress his brother and his friends who are in this gang called the Rip Ass Raiders, which
that's total Stephen King shit there, man. Like just that name.
absolutely,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah, only Stephen King would come up with something called the Rip Ass Raiders.
yeah.
And the kid goes to this abandoned gas station. Again, I could picture this very clearly in my head. And there's porn laid about, which and there's a lot of description of titties and shaved pussies and stuff, which I
Also very Stephen King. Yeah,
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 again, and this kid's like what, 10, 11, something like that, like
yeah,
10. Yeah. Like, yeah, okay. Sure.
yeah.
Okay. Now, I'm not saying it's inappropriate at all, but that is how, well, a 10-year-old would probably be fascinated by seeing stuff like this for the first time.
Definitely.
And the kid gets drunk and passes out, and you kind of forget about him for a little while. And then all this death starts happening. And this is what King does very, very well. When he describes a gruesome death, he makes you think of you going through something like this.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, this is what reminded me so much of The Raft, talking about the shock, what the people are going through, the pain they're experiencing. Really horrific, really
Y-
horrific stuff, especially when you get to like the kids seeing their parents eaten was really disturbing.
yeah. Like the little girl and stuff. Her parents were like fucking eating. She's like now. She's like an orphan now. And like what does she do now?
Yeah,
Horrible.
yeah,
No.
horrible. And but again, it almost veers into comedy because I mean, people just keep pulling over
Yeah.
only to get eaten by this thing.
And the boys like warning him and stuff, don't go over there and stuff. And like, I think the cop goes over there and not listening, and that shit pulls him in there and stuff. And it's just so bizarre too, because it's some type of living thing that's shaped like a car, but it's not a car at all. It's like so weird. And that's the kind of Stephen King stuff I like. Like it's so otherworldly. What is this? And there's no real explanation. Is it an alien? I think maybe it says something. It could be like some type of alien thing, but there's no real explanation of what it is. It's just there and it's consuming everything.
Right, which to me, again, that works way better than trying to explain what this thing is and trying to defeat it, which makes its eventual defeat that much more disappointing and silly.
Yeah.
Um, but man, I liked this whole backstory all the victims got, you know, just going about their day, never thought they would be eaten by a car.
Yeah.
I liked all that stuff. Again, the car, I could picture it, man. It looks like a car, but there's just something so off about it. The the mud. inside of it, and the fact it doesn't really seem to have like a visible license plate. Like it's identifiable as a car, but something inside everyone thinks like there's something so off about this thing.
Hmm.
I love stuff like that. I really do. And I loved all of that stuff in the story. But, the kid coming down and saving the day with his magnifying glass was kind of dumb. I was kind of hoping that kid was going to be fucking alien car food.
But again, that's more classic Stephen King. The kids coming in. He has a lot of stuff with kids in it, like it and like Stand by Me, stuff like that, and like the kid's the hero and stuff. And it's some weird way of like killing this unstoppable thing, like fucking magnifying glass. All things, a fucking magnifying glass. And that's you figure out how to
Right.
kill it. I'm like, that's classic King.
It really is. Yeah, you're absolutely right. But I mean, a drunk 10-year-old with a magnifying glass would be fucking, car food for me. Like if in
Oh
reality,
yeah.
like but I thought this was a really cool start to the collection. And this is the first time I've ever read an anthology in order. I usually just pick my own order for whatever reason.
Mm.
And I thought this was all right, cool. Like this is like some classic Stephen King thing we're about to experience. And it was a while before we got to another story that I was like, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and this one again had like kind of a disappointing ending, but the journey to the end I thought was enjoyable, classic King.
Yeah, definitely. And this was actually first published in 2011 as a novella. It was an ebook before it became in this collection, I guess. So
Right.
it feels like
I
something I may have read before and just kind of forgot about it. Maybe I don't know, but yeah,
it
this is kind of like the big like start. Like I said, the start off story is like this is like his bread and butter type thing.
right. I am surprised that this isn't one of like this hasn't been adapted into a film or anything or a creep show episode or
Yeah,
any
right.
sort of yeah, this feels like very like tailor made for something like that.
Yeah, I could definitely see that in a creep show or something. But I think they canceled the new creep shows on Shutter, unfortunately. But
Well, the
they
whole
weren't that
thing was
great.
unfortunate. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it
it
was.
wasn't that great. Yeah, I wanted it to be good. There's a few things that were pretty good. It wasn't that great.
I thought the animated episode based on the King story. No, what was it? Survivor Type.
Oh yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah,
That was great.
yeah,
The Gray Matter episode was it's one of my favorite King stories. We'll get to
mm,
it eventually, but I thought was just kind of okay,
yeah,
and it was kind of all downhill from there for Creepshow the series for me. Whatever magic the films had was lost on the TV show.
yeah. Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, I was very excited when I heard Creepshow was going to be a TV show, and not good, but
No, not good.
I'm sure something else like it will come along, and eventually we'll see this story brought to the screen eventually. I mean, all Stephen King stories are going to be adapted at some point.
Oh yeah, eventually, yeah, everything's going to be adapted sometime down the line.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
especially, like when it came out, there was like a rush to get other Stephen King adaptations off the ground, and none of them really capitalized on the success of it.
no,
Um, which I mean, we talked about. You and I did not really enjoy those remakes, and
no.
I could see the appeal, though. I get it.
I still love the OG miniseries, the TV miniseries. To me, that's still like perfection. I know it has its flaws too, but I still love that shit and still gives me those creepy memories of watching it when I was a kid, when it was coming on like ABC or something. I would stay up extra late to watch that.
Yeah, yeah.
Terrifying. Oh man.
The nostalgia of the original is what gets me. I did watch it right around, I think, after the first It film came out and rewatched it and was like, man, if I saw this for the first time now, I wouldn't like it. But the fact that it reminds me of seeing it as a kid is what makes it so good. And that it does have a lot of positive aspects to it, I thought. Just even Stephen King TV movies used to be pretty hit or miss. That's definitely on the better than on the good side.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
Like that, and Salem's Lot for me being like
Oh
the
dude, yeah. That's like the king of Stephen King TV movies.
yeah, I mean that's just really really good, atmospheric. It feels more like a film than TV.
Right, definitely feels more like a film. Also,
Uh,
too, I would add in a Storm of the Century. That's my like one of my other favorite Stephen King
I've
adaptations.
never seen that.
Oh, dude, and it's a great time to watch it now since it's cold outside. Well, hopefully it's still cold. It's still winter time,
Oh,
but
it's very cold.
okay, Storm of the Century. I know it was streaming on Hulu. I don't know if it's
Okay.
still there. Hopefully it's still up there, but dude, it's so good. That's yeah, one of the best.
I just wrote it down. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's been a few, and a lot of them are kind of forgettable. The Stand, I remember kind of not being very good at all.
Oh, I dug it, man. But I'm a big
Yeah,
Mick Garris fan too. Like, and I like The Stand, and it wasn't perfect, but it was pretty. It was a good adaptation of the novel. So
I
appreciate
know
that.
that was recently redone, and it just came and went. I don't remember.
It wasn't any good.
Yeah,
No. Only
I know
part
that.
that was good in that was the guy that played the Man in Black, which was Skarsgård. Which
Oh,
it was the older Scar, not the mid-level Skarsgård that played. He played like Tarzan. I can't remember his first name, but he's played a bunch of stuff. He's really good. But he's the one that played the Man in Black, and that part was cool. Everything else was like felt like The Walking Dead. Not very
ugh.
good. Yeah, yeah, had a big Walking Dead feel to it. I hated.
Was that the Skarsgård who was in Robert Eggers' Viking movie?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yep, yep.
Man, that family is just man, they're good at playing fucking ripped villains. Or like,
Yeah, they're
you know,
a great movie family, all of
yeah,
them. Yeah,
yeah. It's weird that the dad's kind of like this frumpy old dude, and his kids are like these almost like perfect specimens, like
yeah.
zero body fat.
Genetic specimens that he buried.
um, my number nine. Again, man, I might have toyed with putting this one lower, but ultimately I kind of enjoyed it. It was a nice little story. Afterlife.
Afterlife. Let's see. What do I get that ranked as? Hmm. Yeah, this was okay. Yeah, that was all right.
Yeah, I liked some of the ideas in this. This guy dies and he goes to this sort of purgatory that is this bureaucratic nightmare. It's almost like was picturing Terry Gilliam's Brazil while reading this
Uh,
story.
yeah, I could see that.
Like him, just papers flying everywhere and people running around with like files in their hands. And I like that. Like even though like you're this guy is dead, but he's in someone else's afterlife, almost like this guy's own hell.
Hmm.
This guy was responsible for these deaths at a factory, which again, this really happened.
Yeah, right. Yep.
Uh, and the person responsible, the manager, owner, whatever, he locked all the employees in. There was a fire, and kid could get out. They all burned to death. So this is his punishment. He is stuck dealing with having this horrible job in the afterlife.
Yeah, this was based off the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory Fire, which was the deadliest industrial disaster in the history of New York City, supposedly.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Pretty horrific stuff. Um, maybe the person responsible really is, pushing papers in the afterlife. Who knows?
I do like that aspect of like how purgatory or like the afterlife is just like another version of this world. But like with the say if you're into that type of business, you're an accountant or something like that's your hell from now on. You're gonna be doing paperwork forever or whatever. It's like you think it's something, it's gonna be something like super crazy, like the afterworld or whatever. It's gonna be all this stuff, everything supernatural and all, but no, it's the same shit you have here just forever. You're stuck. It's like if I was a landscaper forever or something like, man, that's
Ugh.
crazy. Yeah. What the fuck?
Yeah, that sounds like if that was my choice was that or just an eternity of nothing, I would pick the nothing.
Yeah.
I
It's like,
mean, which this character is given that choice, which he has this option, and the guy is like, we've done this 100 times. You have died and relived the same life over and over, and every time you can go through door A and live your life again, or go through door B and you just become nothing. It's like you always choose to live your life again, which, I mean, I feel most people would do that.
yeah, I think I would, I mean, I think I would.
Yeah. There were some good parts of my life that I'd like to revisit. Of course, I
Oh,
wouldn't know
hell yeah.
I wouldn't know I'm revisiting them. I would just think of them as just happening.
Right. That's
uh,
I got a theory about that. I mean, I don't know if we call it theory, but I don't know. I think that might be something that does happen. Maybe, we just do this shit over and over. We make different decisions here so often and that change things, but for the most part, it's the same thing over and over.
Yeah,
That's
and
what
he's
deja vu is about, I think, but
exactly, and he kind of
yeah.
mentions that too. He's like, you'll
Mm.
have thoughts of you've done this before, and that's what deja vu is. And I thought, oh, that's a nice touch. I liked that. Um, and I don't know, I just found this one enjoyable. I mean, there's a rape aspect to it that was a little, I don't know, unnecessary, I thought.
Yeah, definitely unnecessary. Yeah.
I didn't know if that was going to play more into the story. Like, well, because of that, you can choose option B, which is something about along the lines of what that guy was doing.
Hmm.
But he just got the option of nothing or doing the whole thing again. And he goes into the next his life again with optimism that he's going to do things differently this time. And of course, we don't know what happens, but we have the feeling this just plays out over and over and over again.
Yeah, it just keeps on repeating.
But yeah, I like this. This is a nice, weirdly, maybe it's me, but I found this a slightly optimistic feel about the afterlife. That
Yeah.
there's something out there, and I like that when he's in the afterlife, he's not in pain anymore, and he can walk again without pain and all that. It's kind of a nice thought, I guess. I don't know. It's something again we talked about. We're getting older, and
Yeah, there's some optimism there that maybe it's not, there is something there, or, it's not
every
just an internal void.
yeah, that you like every thought you've ever had is just erased, just gone. Like it
Yeah.
never happened. I think that's a terrifying thought for every
Oh,
single living person, which is why we invent these ideas of God and heaven and hell and things like that.
yeah, just give us a little bit of hope, something to get us by. Like,
Right.
I get it.
Because, yeah, I mean, I feel like all that stuff is obviously just completely made up,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
but we really don't know. I mean,
No, you don't really know. It can be all kinds of weird shit. Might be some tentacle god up there somewhere. You
yeah,
don't know. Like, oh man, like Lovecraft was onto something. This is all, look at
yeah.
this shit. This is like Cthulhu's up here and stuff.
Well,
We're down
one thing's for sure, we're all going to find out eventually.
here. Yeah, yeah, that's true. Ugh.
But
Scary. That's scary stuff there, man.
very scary stuff. Well,
Yeah.
that's what probably why we gravitate towards horror. We confront our own mortality watching
Mhm.
this stuff, getting into this stuff, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, David Cronenberg once said, every time I kill someone in a film, I'm rehearsing my own death,
Oh yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, that's
which
some deep
is
shit. Yeah,
a very Cronenberg thing to say.
definitely.
uh, God, I love him.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Okay, my number eight again. This is sort of in the Twilight Zone territory, which I've just spent the last 3 days watching. Um,
Nice.
every New Year's, I watch the Twilight Zone marathon. I watch it until the ball drops, and I wake up and watch more, and then I record them and watch more the next day.
It's a good tradition.
Love the Twilight Zone. It's my favorite show of all time, which is probably why I liked this story.
Mhm.
The Bus is Another World is my number eight.
Oh yeah, this was a good one. This ranks in my top four. So
Nice. Yeah, I wrestled with maybe pushing this one up higher, but there was others I liked a bit more. I liked the setup of this one a lot. Like the dude's anxiety about traveling, I related to 100%. I am that guy who was at the airport at 4 a.m. for a 6 a.m. flight. That
mhm.
is totally me. I'm through security and at the gate at like 4:05 at the latest, ready just in case, like always with a buffer. And like if I had something to do when I land, it was I was landing at least 5 hours before I needed to be doing that thing.
Yeah, I'm the
Uh,
same way. Always early. Everything I do.
everything. I mean,
Yeah.
I was living in New York City for 2 years of my time in the band ISIS, and
Mhm.
ISIS was based out of LA at that point, and I was living in New York, so I flew a lot.
Yeah.
Um, and I always was obsessed with a buffer. Like, okay, we have rehearsals this day, and then we leave for the tour the next day. Okay, so I should give myself this insane amount of time, so the whole day. Um, but always could relate to the anxiety driving to the airport. We're in traffic. oh no, good thing I gave myself 2 hours. And then that window starts getting smaller and smaller. You start panicking. This was so relatable to me, all of the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then, yeah, him in the cab in New York City, I can relate to that a lot. And then while stuck in traffic, he turns and looks and sees this pretty girl on a bus get her throat slit.
Yeah, so
Um,
so creepy by some this yeah.
so creepy. I mean,
Yeah.
him in the cab probably can't hear anything, but sees it. I could see this in like, again, I'm surprised this hasn't been adapted.
Right. Yeah, this could be a great fucking movie.
Yeah, a great like Twilight Zone episode. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
they bring the Twilight Zone back every 10 years or so, it seems. So we'll be seeing some updated Twilight Zone in the future. We always do.
Hmm.
This would be a great story for that. I liked the whole moral dilemma. I thought the story was going to go on much longer with him grappling with this, but nope. He's like,
Just
nope,
kind of ends.
just kind of ends. Got to make my pitch. Stephen King, like, yeah, like a little nod to Mad Men here. I believe the um, name of the ad firm was Slatterly and something.
Hmm.
Slatterly is the last name of one of the actors on Mad Men who played Cooper. No, Draper, Sterling, Roger Sterling. Yes.
Okay, okay.
Uh, which I thought was a not so subtle nod to Mad Men, which I mean, I love that show. I think it's
Yeah.
next to Sopranos, the greatest show of all time.
It's a great show. I've only seen it through once, so I want to watch it again. I know it's on HBO now, so in HD and all that stuff. So I need to give that another go.
Yeah, I recently the last few years purchased every season and did a run through of that, and I find myself wanting to do a run through of it again. Just an incredible show.
Mm.
So I appreciated that little nod to Mad Men. Um, yeah, I mean, cool, relatable story, and then kind of takes this dark, violent turn, and then just sort of ends. The guy has a very brief moral dilemma, and I believe he chose to go through with his pitch.
Yeah, he didn't like call the cops or nothing. He was like, oh, well, I got to get back to I got to get this pitch going and stuff. This is more important than, reporting all this shit that's going on. And, so it's like, man, what a moral dilemma there, right?
I mean, I kind of like I remember walking back to my apartment in Los Angeles late one night, and a cab drove by me. And I remember looking into the cab, and there was a girl whose face and hand was like pressed against the window
Whoa.
of the cab. And it kind of got me, it was pretty hammered walking home at that time. And it kind of like sobered me up for a second. Like, what did I just see? Did I actually really just see that? Or am I just drunk and tired and imagining? And what did I actually see? Maybe she was passed out in the cab. I don't know.
Hmm.
So I had my own quick little like, like should I do some? Is there even something to do? I don't know. What did I just see? And I can relate to this guy sort of trying to convince himself. Did I really just see that? Like
Right. Like,
trying to convince himself he didn't. So this is a fun story, and this is another thing King does well. He probably, you know, blurted this one out in a half a day, but still really good. I really liked it. One of
hmm.
the more memorable stories in this collection.
I agree.
Um, okay. Number 7 was a bit of a longer one and kind of mixed feelings, but ultimately positive was morality.
Morality. Let's see where I ranked that one at. That came out in a July episode of Esquire magazine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
like 2009, I believe. Yeah, it's on my notes.
Did you
Yeah,
like this one?
this one was okay. Like I said, it didn't really hold it for me. I'm more like, I don't know, I like the more weird, like super zany stuff, I guess, of Stephen King, but it was still good. I mean, it's definitely wasn't one of my least favorite ones. So it was good.
Say this qualifies as a zany Stephen King story in a way. You have
Yeah, yeah.
you have this old guy who's seems to me, at least in my head, I was picturing this kind of bedridden old dude, like towards the end of his life, wants to sin by proxy. And I, this is sort of like he offers her not a ton of money, I mean,
Not really, yeah. But
like,
she's like,
yeah,
I think she already
200,000.
wanted to sin. I think she was kind of like living a mundane life and kind of wanted to do some real bad shit anyways.
Right. Which
Yeah.
again, like more of her grappling with this would have been, I thought, nice. But $200,000 is not nothing, but it's not fuck you money.
Not punch a kid in the face money, right?
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, I would do that for $5. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I probably would too. Just find me the right kid, there's no yeah.
Yeah, just give me $5 and like I don't know some lifesavers and I'll do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but that's the thing. What he's asking her to do really isn't that. I mean, it's bad. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
I mean, you could go on Twitter and probably see 1,000 videos like that of some Karen freaking out and punching a kid in the face.
Right.
But of course, the writing of the story probably maybe predates that a little bit. You said what, 2009?
2009. So it was around that time when YouTube really started getting big.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Uh, anyway, I thought maybe what he would ask her to do would be something a little bit more sinister, given how much she unravels after this.
hmm
And again, she's married to or dating. I think they were married. A writer, and I take it he wasn't very good. He definitely wasn't successful. And she does this thing that she grapples with over a night or two, and she does it, and all of a sudden she's getting very into violent sex and being promiscuous and all this. It just her life sort of completely unravels from such a small thing.
Yeah. It was like a downward spiral into darker things.
Yeah. Has a kind of a dark ending where the husband like gets drunk and punches her and leaves her, and it was a nasty little tale, I thought.
It was. Yeah. Yeah. It
Um,
definitely was.
but I thought, well, maybe like, if it was like cut the kid or, do permanent damage to him. I mean, killing the kid, that might be a bit much, especially for $200,000.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe for like 1 million. I don't know. Like the stakes just weren't that high for me in this story.
Yeah.
Like if this was going to be updated for a film, it would be like $500,000, and like she had to like cut off a kid's finger or something like that. But
I
as it
would.
is, I feel like that's something you could probably, maybe this says more about me, but I think I could shake that off and not have a downward spiral.
Right. Yeah.
uh,
Same for me too. Like, yeah, I could do that one job there and be good to go. The rest of stuff, no.
yeah. But I did enjoy it. Yeah, I feel like it could have gone a little further or maybe a bit more into this woman's thought process behind everything.
I think I
But
was kind of disappointed. I wanted the old man to be something more than just an old man, in the end or something. I wanted him to be something, again, something supernatural, otherworldly or something, but not really.
mm,
Like that was kind of a letdown for me.
like needful things or something.
Yeah, like it's actually the devil or something. Yeah,
Yeah,
that would have been cool.
that's a great Stephen King story itself. I really
Oh,
like Needful Things.
it is. I like the movie too, but the books would get a bit better. But movie's still okay.
Apparently, there is like a long cut of that movie out there that's much better.
Huh, I don't know which ones I've seen. I've seen it a bunch, but I don't know what cuts. I think it's a short one though. I don't think I've seen anything extra long that, or wasn't presented that way anyway. So
I gotta look out for it. I know it exists, that there is like a much like 2.5 hour cut of that movie that is much, much better, I'm told. I haven't
interesting.
seen it, but I've been meaning to. It's one of those things like every time I think about it, I'm like, oh, I gotta look that up again, and then I never do.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, as it stands, this was pretty good for again for this collection.
Agree. One of the stronger ones for sure.
Now we're getting into the top six, which
All
is
right.
in our little cabal of podcasters, we like the number six.
Yeah, the six works.
Yeah.
Six is a lot cooler than 10, especially triple sixes.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
My number six was Obits.
Obits, Obits. Oh yeah, Obits. I enjoyed this one. Yeah, this one was cool, and it had like this had like the big old school kind of Stephen King feel to me, with like the supernatural elements were here and stuff, and like you're writing your own deaths and all that stuff. I think that was pretty cool, and it kind of reminds me of the anime Death Note, I believe, very similar to that. I don't know if you ever seen
Oh,
that.
I know nothing about anime. I like
I don't.
Miyazaki, and that's all I know.
Yeah, I'm not a big anime fan, but this is something that my wife was watching, and I watched some episodes with her and stuff. And it's an anime about like this guy befriends this like demon thing, and whatever name you write on this demon's list, that person dies and stuff. So it's pretty interesting. Kind of.
That sounds familiar.
They did a live action version of it too on Netflix. So
That is, yes, it was directed by the guy that did the guest and
oh
You're
yeah,
Next, I
what
think.
yeah, I think it was Adam Wingard or
Adam
whatever.
Wingard.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yes. Okay.
and I like
Hmm.
his work. So.
I yeah, I liked
Well, I
his
like the
early
get.
work.
Yeah, the guest is like one. Yeah, but yeah, his later works kind of. I think he did like a Godzilla movie or something too. Maybe
I think he did. I saw one that he
Kong.
did, and it
Yeah,
was dog shit, terrible.
yeah, yeah,
Um, but hey, whatever, man. We all take that paycheck if it was offered to us too. So good on him.
yeah, yeah.
What I liked surprised me around the time of this writing. Stephen King was in his mid 60s, and sometimes a guy in his mid 60s writing about youth culture can seem really out of touch
hmm
and not really in tune to the way they talk, act, kids talk and act. And I was very taken by how much he seemed to nail this sort of nihilistic kind of writing that was becoming so prevalent around the time that this was published. Snark and things like that really started to become the dominant way you would read about things on sites like the AV Club and Huffington Post and things like that.
Yeah,
Um, Everything, whether you're reading about pop culture, about like serious news, like it started to take on this snark and these these headlines that would sort of get your attention by angering you. And he tuned into that really, really well for this story.
hmm
To me, this felt like this story was written by someone 40 years younger who maybe had a job writing for the AV Club or something like that. Um, because I think he kind of nailed it, and I think it's a subtle commentary on all of that. How writing and journalism and writing in general has just sort of become snark nastiness, and there was no cringe moments where like those the people talk in a way that you're like, oh god, no, they wouldn't say that.
right.
I think you really got it. Again, I love the fact that this sort of just happens. There's no explanation for it. And I like that this kind of poisons everything around him without it being too obvious that that is what's happening. Again, a subtle sort of metaphor for this sort of attitude is poisonous.
Yeah,
The way he tells one person and she becomes darker than him in some ways,
she does. Yes.
which I thought was nice. And the only thing this kind of went out with a bit of a whimper, which, given King's sort of can go over the top sometimes,
hmm
it was sort of nice that it just sort of kind of went out with calmly rather than some insane over the top. Because I kept thinking, oh, she's going to write his obit
Yeah,
or something like that. Like this is going to be passed on. But nope, he just sort of he does it. He enjoys doing it. He realizes its power and it's like, I'm done with all this. I'm gonna go live on a farm.
yeah. He's like, yeah, it's just a very normal King ending. I mean, I normal for King, but a normal ending for anybody else.
Right. Yeah. It's again, it wasn't overly fantastical or, like his laptop comes alive and eats someone or anything like that, or
No.
no battle of obits between him. I thought that's where it was going, or it was going to be this big rivalry between him and that girl that he's kind of his work crush that he's obsessed with. It's also one of King's hornier stories, which,
Yeah, it
yeah,
is.
yeah, there's a few of those in there. Oh, like, morality was one, and this one.
Yeah, he's putting some frustration out there, I guess, you know.
Yeah, and King's
Yeah,
not getting any in his old
yeah,
age.
yeah. He's an old
This
man.
is also, I believe, the second story in this collection to mention someone choking on a bar of soap.
Yeah, that's so very strange way to go, but yeah,
Yeah, it seems weird that you would use it twice and it not have some sort of meaning,
yeah.
unless he just forgot that he used that, or
I'm thinking he probably forgot to use that. Knowing him, I don't know.
I mean, when you write as much as he does, yeah, it's bound to happen.
Yeah,
But I do wonder if somehow, because I believe the other story that did that was the baseball one.
I believe you're right. Yeah, yeah.
That seems, yeah. If
Weird.
they're connected in some way, I fail to see that other than the bar of soap.
Yeah, and he wrote the baseball one, Blockade Billy, in 2010. So before he ever got on this story, so I guess maybe he forgot he used that already.
Very possible. I guess
Yeah,
if I ever run into him, I'll ask him.
yeah, yeah. Let me know how that goes.
Yeah,
I'm curious.
I don't plan on running into Stephen King anytime soon.
You never know, though. You never know.
You never know. He's one of those guys who's just sort of like out and about and kind of like, people have been like, yeah, I was at a diner in Maine and fucking Stephen King was there. Like doesn't have like a team around him or security or anything. He's just doing his thing,
Yeah, this being Stephen King.
which makes me like him even more.
Yeah, agreed.
But yeah, well, this was a solid King story
Yep,
and
totally agree.
a bright spot in this kind of mixed bag of stories.
Yeah, yeah.
Which brings us to our top five. I have a feeling there'll be some overlaps here.
Oh yeah.
My number five, again, this is classic King that I feel stuck the landing. No big surprises, but that's okay. My number five is Little Green God of Agony.
Okay, this would be my number two, I think. Yeah, this one.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I love this one a lot. And this feels like classic King to me. So
Yeah, like this feels like it could have been in one of his earlier works. Again, this feels like sort of ripe for adaptation. This is a one setting story. It all takes place again, this old bedridden guy, which again is a major theme in this. Um, Pain is something Stephen King knows quite well. As everyone knows, in the late 90s, he was hit by a car and nearly killed by it, and has written about it ever since. As I understand it, he wrote it into The Dark Tower too, somehow.
I believe he did. Yeah, because the Dark Tower spans a couple decades or something like that. So yeah, I believe it's in there. And I know he did Kingdom Hospital, which was a take on what happened to him and stuff.
Which was also a remake of Lars von Trier's original show,
Yes, yeah, I believe
Kingdom.
so. Yeah, yeah, I believe so. Yeah, yep.
I did not care for either version. um,
I didn't see the Lars von Trier one. I did watch the Stephen King one. I thought it was interesting. I didn't not like it. I liked it. It was very very strange.
I'll say Von Trier's had a creepy lo-fi vibe to it that I appreciated, but nothing else about it really stands out to me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've heard good things about that one. I've never seen it, so I keep that in mind. I don't think I'm ever gonna seek it or whatever. You know, I haven't done it now, so I doubt if I'm ever gonna check it out. But good to know it's not that great.
I'd be willing to go back to it. I mean, the last time I saw it, I was living in Boston, so I was 24 or 25. It's been a long time.
Hmm.
And I've since gone on to admire Lars von Trier's work quite a bit. Even when I don't like it, I can sort of appreciate the madness behind that guy.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um,
definitely interesting fella.
but this is, some great stuff came out of this, and King, I mean, some not so great stuff came out of King's accident. He famously wrote Dreamcatcher right after, while he was still like sucking down painkillers. And I don't know
Yeah.
if you ever read or saw Dreamcatcher, but
Oh,
it
I've seen
is,
it. I went to
yeah,
the theaters
it's
to see it. I was like, "What the
oh,
fuck is this?" Yeah, ass monsters, ass aliens. You
yeah,
know.
shit weasels, I believe they were
Yeah.
called.
Uh,
Mm.
but it made me uncomfortable. I give it that, but the movie was horrible. But that made me uncomfortable. I'm like, fuck, man. Especially, yeah, ugh.
That's one of
Horrible.
the worst things I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
And as I was watching it, I was like, I don't need to ever read this because this feels exactly like what King wrote. This is all of his worst tendencies to shit out onto the screen.
Yeah, I never read it, but I watched it, and that was enough for me.
But
Yeah.
this came out of that, and this is good.
Yes.
This seems to be taken from the point of view of someone who knows what this agony feels like.
Hmm.
Uh, I liked the little, like, it saves the fantastical horror bits for the end.
Hmm.
You see the last sentence coming a mile off, but who cares? It's fine.
Yeah.
Getting there was a lot of fun. And yeah, this is just old school King doing what he does best. I like the way they describe this thing, not as like sort of like one of those like push balls or whatever they're
Yeah,
called.
it's like a koosh ball. Yeah,
Yeah,
a demon god that's like a koosh ball.
yeah, I liked that. I like that it's basically this flubber thing running around, and everyone like it was almost like not I kept picturing like a house like the movie Clue, where it's thundering and lightning outside,
Yeah,
and uh, but yeah, I mean, not too much to say about this other than it was again good to see like all right, there's some horror in this collection.
yeah. This felt like classic King, and I like the Reverend too. And that's in here. That's doing like the exorcism and stuff. He's got a specific price for doing this kind of work and stuff. And then I think he ends up dying after he does it because it's so powerful. This
Yeah.
demon god that's a koosh ball.
I liked the nurse at the end of her rope, just like being like, "Listen, you little fuck, you want to get better by just throwing money at something without doing the work." I kind of liked that. Like she was just at the end of her rope, and
Yeah, that dude's totally despicable. The guy that has the demon inside of him or whatever. He's pretty horrible.
so it's kind of a dark ending. Like he's okay, and the hero of the story is about to absorb this demon.
Yep, it's going in her eye or whatever. And yeah, that's like the last thing she sees is it's like, coming on top of her and going in her face. And yeah, she's going to have all that bad shit going on with her. And he's good to go. The asshole fucking, he's good.
I remember it as it goes into someone's eye, she gets it off, and then it crawls up her hand. The end.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it is a hand.
Yeah, like yeah, the nurse gets it off of the other like
Yeah.
character. She's like a maid or something, and yeah, that was really nice. Classic King, nasty ending. Um, my number four also has a nice little zinger at the end. I liked this story quite a bit, and it was largely due to the very last sentence, and that's the Dune at number four.
Yeah, the Doom would be my number three.
Ah, okay,
Yeah,
great.
the Doom
Yeah,
is good. Yeah, yeah.
this really took me by surprise. It was one of those stories like, okay, okay, it's still going, still going. Oh, and then you get to that last sentence and you're like, oh, wow, I actually didn't see that coming,
Hmm.
which doesn't happen a lot in speaking stories. You kind of like think your way through it and predict the end. And usually you're right. But that was, again, this is very Twilight Zone territory. And
Yeah.
again, we have an old guy you think is on about to die and getting his affairs in order. And he tells this very long-winded story about this dune. And it's a bit of a journey, a bit of a, not a slog, but it goes on for a little while and then ends abruptly. But this time, I think the abrupt ending really works.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, you had this sort of, again, like this sort of old asshole you feel has done a lot of bad things in his life. He's a judge. He's
Hmm.
90 years old. He's probably, I don't know. I just immediately pictured like an asshole. Um, and I love the way it turns the table, and it's not his name he saw in the dune, but the young lawyer he summoned over.
Yeah, Wayland, I believe.
Yeah, and it just ends right there. No time to get into the lawyer's anxiety or anything. It's just over.
Yeah,
I
big
yeah,
Twilight Zone feels with this one.
absolutely. This and another collection I think would still rank very high for me.
Yeah, this was a strong one. This was a real strong one. I dug it. I like the weird stuff that King does like this. Like, there's no explanation for things. It's kind of leaves you there, trying to decide, for yourself. I love that kind of stuff. Like we were talking before, like I hate things to be totally explained to me when it comes to
Yeah,
shit like this.
right, exactly. Had this gone on like a full-length story, I feel like it would be about this kid trying to figure out the Dune and know how to save himself, but we're just left like this kid's fucked.
Yeah, yeah.
It's all over for him. Yeah, again, very Twilight Zone-y, which I absolutely love.
Hmm.
Um, this is a great story. Hope to see this on the screen someday in like a new Twilight Zone or maybe a whole new show. I feel like there's
Yeah,
a serious lack of horror anthologies on TV right now. To me,
there is.
I don't think there's any right now.
Not off the top of my head. There's not. No.
There was that Guillermo del Toro thing for
Yeah,
it was
the
a couple
Cabinet of
years.
Curiosities. Yeah, that was pretty good. It had some
Yeah,
decent ones. It wasn't great though. My favorite one was the what's his name one Panos
how's it?
Cosmatos. Yeah, yeah, that was my favorite one. So
Yeah,
I
I
was
was gonna watch them in order, but I went right to that one.
yeah,
um,
it was the
and it
best one.
was yeah. The only thing is they were kind of all downhill from there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, you're right. There's some okay ones, but like I think if that came out like 10 years or 20 years earlier, you get like Stuart Gordon to direct a few or
Oh yeah, that would have been great. He would have did a great job with the Lovecraft Witch's House one because that one was horrible. I think there was a witch house on that anthology, and I hated it. It
yeah, I believe you're right. Yeah, I agree.
was real bad.
Yeah, I think Yamato like could have come up with a better sort of curate a better group of directors or something. People more I don't know, like more in tune to that stuff. Yeah, left me a little cold. Very disappointed, I'll say.
Agreed.
Okay, I'm rambling. Okay, so Dune, that was my number four.
Yeah,
Number three, like this one a lot. I love Westerns. So
same.
my number three was A Death.
That's another good one. Yeah, that's let's see. That's my number. That'll probably be my number four. This is your number four as well.
This is my number three.
Okay, so yeah, that'd be
Is it?
number four.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's my number three.
this is good.
I liked this one a lot. I liked the Western setting. I think King's dialogue makes sense in this time, the way these people speak in a no bullshit, matter of fact sort of way. Again, a twist ending. Uh, like you really feel like this is about a wronged man.
Yeah,
He's not a great kind of a simpleton. He's getting what he doesn't deserve. There's this really gut-wrenching scene of him being taken to his execution. And it really makes you feel for the guy. You're like, man, this guy's about to die horribly for something he didn't do.
yeah,
Only for the rug to be pulled out in the most Stephen King way imaginable, involving shit.
yeah. Of
um,
course.
we find out, yeah, that the guy actually did it.
Yeah, yeah. They find like the silver dollar thing or whatever, and all
Yeah,
leads to
so
him.
yeah, like a young woman, girl, is strangled to death, and her silver dollar. I mean, she was strangled, right? I can't quite remember
I
now.
believe so. Yeah, I'm a little rusty on the story because this is like middle of last year or early last year when I got to this one, an audiobook. But yeah, I believe she was strangled.
Um, her silver dollar is missing, and the justice system moves swiftly back then, apparently. Um, and the only person that believes him that he didn't do it is the sheriff, because the sheriff says if he took that silver dollar, he would have gone and just drank that money away.
Yeah,
Like that's the kind of guy he is. And you're like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. And the sheriff is like kind of torn over this whole thing happening. Like he doesn't starting to question if he even wants to do this job anymore. He's old, he's seen enough. I'm picturing like a Tommy Lee Jones type, maybe.
yeah, I could see that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Anytime it's a Western, I think Tommy Lee Jones, though. So
He's got that face,
he really does.
old
Yeah.
grizzled face, even when he was
Yeah.
young.
Yeah, really. Totally. And then only to discover, like, the coroner, you know, summons him. I mean, I guess you couldn't call people back then.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. He's like, you're going to want to see this. And they discover in his shit, of course, because this is a Stephen King story,
yep,
the silver dollar, and that he had been shitting this thing out, cleaning it off, and swallowing it over
yeah,
and over and over again until his execution, which I
Man.
think I think that's the true horror of the story right there.
Yeah, that's a real shitty ending. Yeah.
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 But I also can't help but feel like this is some sort of comment on capital punishment. Like, even though in the end you find out the guy is guilty, it's still watching him beg and plead. You can't help but feel like how you would be in that situation. Like
Yeah.
you're being dragged to the wicker man, dude. You're done. Like you're gonna die. Um, that's God, and then putting a bag over your head, so you're just isolated in this darkness. You can't see it coming. Like
Ooh, that's
that's got to
rough.
be, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know about you, but I am against the death penalty 100%.
Yeah, it
Uh,
depends with me, I guess. I have to see the evidence, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I really feel about that. I don't know.
yeah, I'm against it, man. I think it falls under cruel or unusual to me.
I guess I kind of rather you suffer in prison, for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? I think
Yeah,
that's
and
more fitting.
I've
So,
had this I've had this discussion with people and like, well, if someone you cared about died or was murdered, you'd want them, blah blah blah. But like, what does it really, the death penalty really do? It
mm,
doesn't deter anyone from doing anything because people still murder each other.
yeah, that's true.
And this idea to me of closure is an absolute myth.
Mm,
So, yeah, say it was my loved one and now that guy's dead. There's no closure, nothing's changed.
yeah, that's
The
true.
grief is still there, the pain is still there. His agony and pain, whatever, it's all gone.
Yeah,
You're still there. So I've never really been much for when people say they want closure. I always, well, what does that really even mean?
yeah. There's no real closure. Yeah, yeah.
You
I get what you're
know,
saying.
I mean, with anything really,
Yeah,
like you have a breakup, you want to see someone for the last time, and but what's different? The feelings are still there. So I just don't really believe in this whole idea of closure.
yeah. I think I'd
Um,
rather see somebody rot in jail that did the crime. That way, they're still being punished the whole time. As long as they don't get out, of course, stay there forever. It's locked up in there. I mean, I think that's more of a hell than fucking escaping early through death.
I I agree, and I mean
Yeah,
I know that that person gets to eat three a day, sleep, read, do whatever, but like I mean either way, them dead or them alive, nothing changes. The
makes
fact that the person who they killed or whatever is still dead, and you're still going to grieve for the rest of your life.
yeah.
None of that changes. So yeah, I am very against the death penalty. I think it's just disgusting.
Hmm.
And I got a feeling Stephen King's against it too.
I think so too. Yeah, it seems that way.
That's what I took away from this story. And I think it's cool. It doesn't hit you over the head with some sort of message or anything. It's just here it is. This
Hmm.
is what happened. And on to the next one.
Yeah,
Uh, really liked this a lot. As you can tell, it's my number three.
yeah, that's a good one.
um, my last two, my number two, man. These last few are fucking gut punches. Uh, my number two was Under the Weather.
Under the weather. Let me see what I ranked that one here. Where the hell's it on my notes here? Okay, and this one was actually in Full Dark No Stars in 2011. So I think this was published twice. What? No, I don't,
Full
yeah,
Dark, No Stars. Yeah, I read that
yeah.
too. And which kind of surprised me. Full Dark, No Stars is a collection of novellas.
Hmm.
This is on the shorter side.
Oh yeah, this one. Yeah, this one ranks pretty high too. I guess this would be my. I'm not sure. It's up like in my top five, I believe. This one was a heavy one though. I remember that. Yeah, this one hits pretty hard.
Very heavy. And again, the
Yeah,
guy works in advertising.
yeah. Another. Yeah,
Not sure where King's going with all this. Maybe there's some sort of secret desire, some that had he not been a writer, he'd be in advertising.
yeah. I think
Don't.
so.
But I mean, this is again like a horror. I think anyone who has a significant other
Yeah,
probably thinks about. I mean, there's a moment in this that I relate to a lot where he says he woke up to the horror that he thought his wife was dead, but she was just sleeping. That's something I've experienced
Same.
many times throughout my life. I have I know I mention that all the time. I have night terrors, so I wake up screaming a lot,
Hey,
or
me
wake.
too, man. Welcome to the club on that. It's a horrible
Yeah,
club, especially
it.
doing it when you're on tour with your bandmates. But
Oh my God. Oh my
yeah.
God.
Oh,
You
dude.
haven't.
Yeah.
When we did we took a bus on tour when we toured with Tool.
Mm.
And so we were all sleeping on the same quarters, and then we had a new tour manager. And day one, I'm screaming my head off.
Oh, fuck.
And the next day, wake up to him like staring at me like, man, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah. Oh,
And all
man.
the other guys being like, yeah, he does that. I feel really bad. I put those guys through 7 weeks of fucking hell, me
Oh, man.
screaming my head off every other night. Um, yeah, it's not a club you want to be in.
No,
And
dude, I feel so ashamed of like some of the stuff I've done, like scaring people and stuff. I've woke up outside before when I was a teenager and stuff, like
yep,
all
yep.
kinds of weird shit. I'm like, I cannot control it. I've had my head examined and stuff with like all these diodes and all that shit to see what it was. Like it was epilepsy. None of that showed up. Like, I don't know. I think it's stress related with me, but
Yeah, I remember when I was 15, I got dressed and walked to school. I remember this back when I had a mohawk. It was that long ago. Walked to school, junior high it was. I went to the back fence, which is where I met all my other friends, and we all smoked cigarettes before school because, we were the bad kids, we were the punks and rejects. And I'm sitting there like, where are my friends? Why is it dark out? Like, where is everyone? And it slowly started to dawn on me that I was like, what's going on? And then I just walked home, and my mom's in the kitchen, like terrified. She's like, where the fuck were you? Like,
yeah,
you just got up and left, and it's like 4 in the morning.
fucking
Um,
wild.
yeah, and this is, something I've dealt with my whole life. I wake up in places I didn't fall asleep in. Uh, sometimes in different states of undress.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I kick, thrash, scream. The good part for me is I don't remember it like 60, 70% of the time.
Same here. Yeah, my wife like you did this and that, or it'd be on video because we have cameras in the house and stuff. And sometimes I'm like, I don't want to see it. I don't want to know what I did. Like I'm already embarrassed enough that I do this, and I can't
Oh
control it.
yeah.
Like I don't want to. I don't want to know anything about it.
I have embarrassed myself a million times doing this shit. I remember back when I was in cable, we all stayed at Randy's place in Putnam, Connecticut, and we'd all like five of us sleeping in a living room. And I got up and started screaming. Apparently, I was talking about Superman. Like, I don't even give a shit about Super. What? Like,
Right.
where the fuck did that come from? Yeah, it's embarrassing. So, for the next fucking 6 months, everyone's calling me Superman, you know? Yeah, and now I'm just talking about it on a podcast. So,
That's cool. We're airing out the grievances of our night terrors. I think I mentioned it before on the podcast with me, but yeah, it's good to meet another person that has night terrors because we understand each other. Because people that don't have night terrors, they think, what triggers it? I don't fucking know. I don't do this on purpose.
No, I don't either. And
Yeah.
I've talked to many different doctors,
Yep.
with different diagnoses. So I don't know. Maybe I'll get to the bottom of it someday. It seems like it's mellowed in some, but then I'll have like a real bad one, and I'm like, well, I guess it hasn't mellowed at all.
My Spanish uncle told me I was cursed by a witch because
Huh.
I had a bad attack at my cousin's house when I was a kid. He said I was cursed by a witch. I mean, that was a real bad one. He had to like tackle me, and I woke up, my shoulders like felt like I was dislocated. It was never really good since that. Like he had to knock the shit out of me to get me awake.
Wow.
Yeah, he said if you have like any kind of like bruising down by your thigh, you've been cursed by a witch, a bruja. I'm
Oh,
like, so I was going on thinking I was cursed by a witch for most of like middle school and high school.
well, I my family is from Portugal. My name is from Spain originally, and
Oh,
my Portuguese grandmother would probably say the same thing because my dad has the same problem.
interesting.
Yeah,
Huh.
and I think she was very old world superstitious. I mean,
Mhm.
when her husband, my grandfather, died, she wore all black for like 25 years. Like,
Wow.
so yeah, maybe there's something there. I don't know.
Huh. Okay. Well, we're all just cursed by witches then.
Yeah, Spanish
Brujas.
witches.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, interesting.
Um, that is to say, I can relate to this story. this was such a devastating, sad story about, denial and this. It's never really clear what happens to this man's wife, but you slowly gather that she's dead.
Yeah,
And he is in deep, deep denial. He is going about his life, worrying about work, while there's a smell in
and
the apartment
flies.
and
Yeah,
flies, and
yeah.
the landlord thinks like the smell's coming from his place, and he's suspicious now of this guy, and maybe he has a right to me. I mean, I don't. It never explicitly says what happened to the wife.
No, they don't.
So did he kill her? I don't think so, but we don't know.
I would hope he didn't. I mean, but I don't know. Yeah, they never say. She's just kind of dead when he wakes up, and he just doesn't realize it. He's that's it's probably like the scariest like story like reality wise out of all these stories on this in this anthology.
I agree. And
Oh man, yeah,
him grappling you slowly, it'll dawn on him, only for him to snap back into denial. Like, no, she's just under the weather, the title of the story.
yeah,
The last line in this, I found just devastating. I needed a break from reading after reading this story. It was really, it got to me, this one, where he just says, like, oh, maybe you'll just sleep a little while and I'll lay next to you. And that's what I did. And it's over.
yeah. That's horrifying, dude. Oh my god, yeah,
Yeah,
just
that
yeah,
it got me, man. I was a little I was a little upset after I read that one, for sure. And Stephen King does this kind of thing, this quiet, aching sadness so well.
mm-hmm.
Um, and this was like, yeah, like you said, like this is like true horror. This is horror that you can actually confront, and this can happen,
Yeah.
especially as we get older. I mean, how many people wake up next to a dead loved one? I'm sure it happens all the time.
Yeah, I experienced that when I was a very little kid, like shit, maybe 3 or 4 with my grandma. Like,
Oh, wow.
yeah, and people don't believe me unless they know my family. But if you ever seen the movie, What's Eating Gilbert Grape? You ever see that?
With Leonardo DiCaprio, yeah,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. Like the
Yeah.
mom in that movie looked exactly like my grandma, same size and everything.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
yeah, that probably fucked me up pretty good. Maybe that was my start of my night terrors, like, thinking she was alive. But it was that same situation there. I was laying by her and she was dead. I don't know how long she was dead for, but she was dead. And it took like fucking 6 people to get her out of the house. Yeah,
Wow. Well,
yeah,
hey,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
one doctor did tell me that my night terrors could be the from childhood trauma.
yeah.
So
I could,
that
yeah.
could be right there, the beginning of your night terrors, right
If that
there.
shit don't traumatize a kid, I don't know what does.
I mean, yeah. I mean, in most other circumstances, you probably forget everything that's happened to you as a 3-year-old. I bet you
Yeah.
didn't fucking forget that.
No, I remember it pretty fucking clearly because
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, y'all ever seen Gilbert Grape? That was my grandmom, and yeah, she was
Oh, wow. We're
horrible, man.
getting we're getting deep here, man.
It's a deep episode, so I hope
Yeah.
everybody's ready for this one.
I really loved this story. I almost put it at my number one. It was my number one until I actually got to my number one.
Hmm.
My number one is the very last story in the collection, Summer Thunder.
Summer Thunder. Okay, yeah, that was a good one too. That's going to be in whatever my number five. Like I said, I didn't have myself clear cut out. I just knew my number one was the car one. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's the one that really hit me the most. But yeah, this was a really good one too.
This one was another like really emotionally devastating story. And I was kind of limping to the end of this collection. The story right before this was the Drunken Fireworks one.
Hmm.
And I had pretty much given up hope of there like being like one last knockout punch from Stephen King in this collection. And I got my wish because this one was pretty heavy, man.
Yeah,
It
nuclear war and shit. No, that stuff scares the fuck out of me.
Yeah, and the fact that that's not even like the what the story's even really about, that's sort of like the background, the basis of everything that
Right.
happens. Like you just have this guy and his dog and his neighbor, and doesn't really ever say why they're still alive, or if it did, I missed it. but they don't last too much longer. They sort of one by one leave us. And
Yeah, all getting sick.
yeah, which is, I mean, that's a big fear of mine, just the horror of discovering you're sick
Yes.
and it's just getting worse and worse. And they mentioned they pull at the dog's fur to see if it's like still can like, oh, this is a miracle, man. This dog's doing great. And until one day,
It ain't.
the dog, yeah, one day it ain't, and
Yeah.
it comes at you just like that, and all your plans and all your hopes like just go out the window. Like, his wife is taking his daughter to Boston. She was going to start school, and now they're dead,
Yeah.
and now he's all alone, and it's pretty depressing. And then it ends, and it's still depressing. Like there's just no glimmer of hope, but it's framed in this like really like idyllic sort of pretty way. Stephen King mentioned in his notes or whatever of like about how he took his motorcycle and
Hmm.
rode it across country, and he saw the most beautiful sunset he'd ever seen on that road trip. And that's sort of what you think of when he's describing the setting and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it looks, in my head anyway, it looked really pretty, this pretty landscape just littered with dead animals, and this what must be this horrible, horrible smell.
Yeah. Just destruction everywhere. And yeah. Ugh.
Yeah, and just no hope.
Mm.
And this guy is just grieving, and there's all he's got is this dog that he found. Pretty heavy way to end this collection, but kind of a perfect ending. I don't
Yeah.
know where else you would put this but last.
Yeah, because this one kind of ruined your weekend. You know what I mean? Like this one in the store before this one, that was in your top or whatever with the wife. These two here, like, yeah, you gotta. I want to read something happy after I read these two stories. You know what I mean? Like
It
they're
was like the
so
first
heavy.
time I saw Requiem for a Dream. I was like, I need to wash this from my brain and watch
Yeah,
something funny. Um, I felt I needed to do the same with this. I was just, it's such a upset after reading that, and then it's over. Like there's no
yeah,
story to sort of wash that away, so you're sort of left with this lingering sadness. But I mean, the last story being the best. I mean, that was quite a nice surprise for me. If I remember correctly, Stephen King anthologies usually go out with something kind of quieter, and this sort of meets that in a way. It's not action packed. It's not like your gets your heart thumping. You're not. It's just devastating,
yeah,
and it never lets up. And it's a short one, but it's a powerful one, and it's my number one. And I again, in another collection, this would still rank very high. And I think this is what King does really, really well, man. He can really pull at your heartstrings. Like, I mean, that's just one of his gifts.
yeah. It is, and I think with this whole series of short stories, man, like this was kind of it was pretty heavy. Like going back and talking about it and stuff. Like there's a couple out of this world type things, but overall, this was a very heavy set of short stories here. Like and stuff that can really happen, stuff that really terrifies us. I think he conveyed that message very well with this. It's a very
Y-
gloomy
y-
anthology.
Yeah, and I seem to like it more after like ordering these in the order I like them least to best, and like talking about it. I'm like, maybe I liked this more than initially I thought. But in the grand scheme of things, like I thought the collection we did previously, You Like It Darker, I thought was better in like, you know, classic King horror.
Yeah,
Thought there was a little bit more of that. This is sort of like a weird, he's trying something maybe like a little bit different, leaning more towards real life horrors, mortality, to mixed results. But there are some highs in this book, and there are some serious lows.
yeah. It's like he was experimenting with all this stuff. He doesn't, what really caught yet with the newer Stephen King, and he kind of got it right in the last anthology we did with this type of horror that he's going for, like more like a mortality stuff, and all that other scary shit.
Right.
Yeah.
I will say though, I remember getting this and thinking like every time King puts out an anthology series, I like it less and less, or there's less stories in it I enjoy. But there's always one like great banger of a King story.
Hmm.
And while this had stories in it I liked and were emotionally heavy, there was no like, there was no 1408, there was no Crouch End or Raft. This was like the first anthology I read of his that it was missing that just great Stephen King classic like banger that like, oh man, I loved that. I can't wait to read it again.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't feel that with this one at all. Yeah, maybe like I said, yeah, I didn't. There was nothing really that caught me heavy like that. So, but as we go further back, I think we'll be coming to the good stuff where some really memorable stories take place.
Yeah, I think up next we have Just After Sunset, I believe it is, which has one of my favorite King stories of all time. And I'm actually looking forward to going through that one
I don't remember if
again.
I've read all that one. I know there's probably some stories in there I've already read from different things, but as a whole, I don't think so. Just After Sunset, I don't know. I have to look through that.
Yeah, I have it on hardcover. I got it for Christmas one year. And I'll probably do the same thing where I read some and read some others. And really looking forward to going back to that one and giving it another look. Maybe there's more in there that I'll like more this time. Because I think at that point I was expecting just a whole book of just Stephen King monsters and shit like that. And that's not what that is.
Right.
But maybe knowing that now I'll enjoy it more. And um, there's more stories I remember in that one than don't. But I would say about 50%. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. I was looking at it a little bit today, like, oh, I remember that story. Don't remember that one. Don't remember that one. So yeah, I think it'll be fun to revisit.
Yeah, I'm,
But
yeah, I'm looking forward to checking that one out. So,
for sure. So where does this one lie with you? Like,
well, this is going to be slightly below the newest one that we already did. Like, it doesn't rank high at all with me overall. It's pretty low on the Stephen King, anthology parts. So I don't know. It ranks pretty low. I don't. It's low. So
I th
yeah,
I think I gave the last one a 3 or something out of 5. I would probably rate this the same. I guess
I
maybe a little bit lower.
I do 7.5 out of 10. I think that'd be my score for this one.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I would probably say then, yeah, somewhere around the same, like a 7 out of 10. There's, like I said, there's a couple really, I like the top four, I thought were all great
Hmm.
stories. And then a bunch of like, yeah, that was cool. And then a few absolute stinkers. Um, the stinker, like those bottom two stories, not the poems, they just went on forever and aggravated me to no end.
Yeah, yeah, he could have went a shorter route with those and been a lot better.
Yeah,
Dragging that shit on it, and no advertisements either, please.
yeah, that was a little much.
Yeah,
But yeah, like that baseball one, man. Oh, I just really, really hated that story.
yeah, I would rate that's probably my least favorite out of all of them is that baseball one. I think I already said that though, just because I don't all that baseball talk does nothing for me. This
Nothing at
bores the
all.
shit out of me.
I believe there is another baseball story though in when we get to Nightmares and Dreamscapes.
Oh, that's a good one. I've read that one, but it's been a long time. So yeah, I
It's
don't.
been a
Yeah,
long time for me too, man. I was
yeah.
what was that 93 that came out. So I
Damn.
was fuck maybe a sophomore.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was a long time ago since I've read that, but man, that one has some classic Stephen King stories in it.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good one to get to. So
Yeah, let's hurry up and get to that one.
let's do it. Yeah. All
All
right,
right,
man.
man.
Yeah, this has been cool, dude. And yeah, I'm glad we're doing this series again. And I can't wait to get to the next one. And the further we go down, the further we get to the real gold. So, you know,
Yeah, then we'll actually like maybe do some of his novels or something.
I'm down with that. Yeah, I'm down to do all Stephen King, man. We'll keep this rolling. So,
Hell yeah, dude. Well, thanks for having me again. Let me run my mouth for 2 hours.
Hell yeah, it's cool, man, and it's also good to know I'm not the only one that has night terrors that I actually know. That's pretty cool. Nobody else I know has night terrors that I know of anyway, so it's cool.
Same here. I mean, outside of like, my immediate family, you're the only one I know who suffers
Yeah,
through this.
nobody knows our suffers, man, but we
I
know each
know.
other's troubles here. So,
Absolutely. And next time I have one, I'll text you.
oh yeah, yeah, do that.
It happened again.
All right,
All
Jeff.
right, man. I'll talk to you soon, and thanks for having me. I look forward to doing this again.
Hell yeah, man. You have a good rest of your weekend, dude, or the
Yeah,
rest of your
man.
Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah, and weekend's almost over. But yeah, you too, man.
All right, later, man.
Later.